Chapter 3408. King Bearded had originally wanted to make Night Sorrow depressed with his gains, because he had lost too many star coins. Night Sorrow, on the other hand, was excited when he thought of his own Night Demon planet that had not been developed yet. As for Meng Hexing and Qing Xian planet that he had obtained from the battle, they had already shown their worth to him, and he did not feel envious. Then, King Bearded laughed and collected Meng Hexing's Supreme State Elixir. He swallowed it right in front of Night Sorrow. He was originally at the third stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, but in an instant, the energy in his body surged and he advanced to the fourth stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. Ha! Nice! 1,200,000 star coins allowed me to advance from third stage to fourth stage. Thank you so much for your Meng Hexing. After advancing to the fourth stage of the Supreme State, King Bearded, who was originally unhappy, immediately became happy. In his opinion, advancing to the fourth grade of the quasi-supreme stage was an impossible dream because the third grade was the limit of his natural endowment. However, the elixir produced from Meng Hexing had directly raised him to the fourth stage. How could he not go crazy over such a heaven-defying elixir? Elder King Bearded, you're welcome. You spent star coins and obtained an opportunity. This is a matter of course. Night Demon, farewell. Night Sorrow was envious that King Bearded had advanced from third stage to fourth stage in such a short time. However, since he had already exchanged the elixir, he felt that there was no need for him to stay here and be jealous. Hence, he prepared to rush to Night Demon Planet. He wanted to find the opportunity that belonged to him. At this moment, above the originally clear sky, countless tribulation clouds suddenly appeared. After these tribulation clouds gathered, they all attacked King Bearded. Before the tribulation lightning energy body formed, the thick tribulation lightning began to attack King Bearded first. What's going on? Why is the tribulation lightning so terrifying? Seeing the terrifying lightning tribulation coming towards him, Greenbeard was instantly flabbergasted. Although he had successfully advanced to the fourth stage of the Supreme State, and his strength had increased by quite a bit, he still did not have much confidence in facing the tribulation lightning. For a moment he was stunned. At this moment, Night Sorrow reminded him, "This should be because you obtained power that you should not have obtained. Hence, you are being punished by the heavens. As long as you can pass the tribulation lightning, you will officially advance to the fourth stage of the Supreme State. Hua Qian Gu Manga. Otherwise, he would die in the lightning tribulation." The heavenly Tao took it back. Yes. With my talent, advancing to the fourth grade of the half-step Supreme Realm is indeed heaven-defying. Little friend, thank you. Greenbeard thought about it for a moment, and felt that Night Sorrow's words made sense. Immediately, he began fighting against the lightning tribulation. However, his strength was limited, and the level of the lightning tribulation was obviously too terrifying. Soon he was unable to withstand it. At this moment, Night Sorrow transmitted to Little Fool. Little Fool, can you control the eternal divine tower and absorb some tribulation lightning? If he were to absorb some of this tribulation lightning, he would be able to use it in the void. Moreover, he could also share some of the burden with him. The way I see it, this Elder King Bearded Z won't last much longer. Night Sorrow himself didn't have the ability to absorb the lightning tribulation of a half-step paramount stage fourth stage cultivator. He couldn't even strengthen his body in it. After all, this type of tribulation lightning was much stronger than the attack of an ordinary fourth grade half-step supreme stage martial artist. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Little Fool said, "We can try." Then he controlled the eternal divine tower, and tried to absorb the lightning in front of him. However, after a few attempts, all of them ended in failure. At this moment, Greenbeard was about to die. At this moment, he was no longer as high-spirited as before. He transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow. "Quick! Help me inform Vice Dean Ji Xian, and ask him to come and save me. It'll be too late by the time he arrives." Night Sorrow glanced at Greenbeard and said. He then transmitted his voice to Little Fool. "I'll lend you the power of merit and the power of frost. Try fusing the power of merit, and see if you can absorb some lightning." "Alright, I'll try. However, if I use these two powers, the Eternal Divine Tower will definitely be attacked." Little Fool transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow as he absorbed the two powers. He knew that doing so would be a provocation to the heavenly Tao, and would be met with revenge. According to my judgment, the Eternal Divine Tower should be able to withstand such an attack. Give it a try. Night Sorrow observed Greenbeard, who was about to die, and said, under the circumstances where his strength allowed, he felt a little apologetic to watch a cultivator, who had just interacted with him, die. All right. Then let's absorb the lightning in front of us. After receiving an affirmative answer, Little Fool immediately injected the power of merit and the power of frost into the Eternal Divine Tower. Once again, he absorbed the lightning and the void. With the help of the two powers, he really succeeded in absorbing most of the lightning. Night Demon, this divine weapon of yours is amazing. Thank you, thank you. After absorbing most of the lightning, Greenbeard, who was originally very tired, instantly felt much more relaxed. However, after a portion of the lightning in front of him was absorbed by the Eternal Divine Tower, it did not descend to attack Greenbeard and the Eternal Divine Tower like ordinary lightning tribulations. Therefore, after Greenbeard dealt with the lightning in front of him, he was pleasantly surprised to find that he had successfully passed the lightning tribulation. This made him feel like he was the destined person. Elder, you're too kind. Congratulations on successfully advancing to the 4th stage of Half-Step Supreme Realm. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. Seeing that Greenbeard had passed the lightning tribulation, Night Sorrow cupped his fists towards him and flew towards Night Demon Peak. He was prepared to take out the opportunity of Night Demon Peak. After that, Greenbeard caught up and said, little friend Night Demon, don't be in a hurry to leave. You helped me pass the lightning tribulation. How can I not express my gratitude? As he spoke, Greenbeard took out a bronze mirror that emitted a halo and handed it to Night Sorrow. He said, this is the Universe Bronze Mirror of Half-Step Supreme Realm 3rd Stage. Take it as a token of my gratitude. Oh, this mirror is not bad. The moment Greenbeard handed the Universe Bronze Mirror over, Night Sorrow and Little Fool discovered the extraordinariness of the mirror. Night Sorrow immediately declined and said, Elder Greenbeard, saving you just now was just a small effort. I can't take your reward so easily. Haha. There's no need to stand on ceremony between us. A trace of a smile appeared on Greenbeard's face as he stuffed the Universe Bronze Mirror into Night Sorrow's hands. Then he looked at the Eternal Divine Tower and said, but let me say this first. My Universe Bronze Mirror will be used to exchange for this divine pagoda. What did you say? Hearing this, Night Sorrow's nose almost became crooked from anger. He completely did not expect that Greenbeard would do this at this time. I said, quickly hand over this divine tower. I can spare your life. Otherwise I, Greenbeard, will take both the human and the treasure. Greenbeard looked at Night Sorrow with a mocking expression. Clearly, he was prepared to repay kindness with ingratitude. www. Chapter 3409. Both humans and treasures? Without us, you can't even pass the lightning tribulation. Where did you get your confidence from? Night Sorrow looked at Greenbeard coldly. The story of Mr. Dongua and the wolf flashed across his mind. This Greenbeard in front of him was completely a wolf that turned hostile and refused to recognize humans. However, he still had some confidence in facing Greenbeard, who was a half-step to 4th stage Supreme Realm. After all, he did not activate the Star Ruins combat secret technique or the Destruction Divine ability when he saved Greenbeard. Haha. I passed the lightning tribulation and received the power of the heavenly Tao. Now I'm a true 4th stage expert. You're just a 1st stage ant. You're not enough to make me feel pressured. As for your divine weapon, it's just a divine weapon after all. It's even less of a threat. Greenbeard looked at Night Sorrow in disdain. After saying that, he continued, however, if you know what's good for you, hand over all your divine weapons. I'll be merciful and take you in as a servant. I'll spare your life. Looks like the saying justice grinds slowly but surely is right. Someone like you who doesn't have enough talent to pass the lightning tribulation. You'll be courting death. You'll die here. This is fate. Night Sorrow activated the Green Phoenix armor and activated the Treastrimsa Star Ruins combat secret technique and the Destruction Divine ability. At this moment, after activating these statuses, his aura could almost reach third stage half-step to the Supreme Realm. He was not far from fourth stage. Hehe. You're quite strong. Third stage half-step to the Supreme Realm. If it was me in the past, it would be a little difficult to deal with you and your divine weapons. But now you'd better die. The divine weapons are mine. Greenbeard saw that Night Sorrow had activated his statuses and raised his aura. He shouted angrily and took out 18 flying swords and controlled them to shoot at him. Heaven wants to make him crazy before it destroys him. Watch me use the lightning tribulation to kill him. Seeing that Greenbeard actually attacked Night Sorrow, Little Fool, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, immediately prepared to attack. At this moment, Night Sorrow immediately transmitted his voice. Don't use a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Greenbeard has just advanced to fourth stage half-step to the Supreme Realm. His true combat power is probably inferior to Jing Hai. Using the tribulation lightning he had just collected was clearly a waste. Watch my battle with him. After the voice transmission, Night Sorrow released his protective divine domain. The 18 flying swords that were flying through the air unleashed their ultimate skill, ice sealing the world. In the blink of an eye, the flying swords in the air were reduced by 70%. After the flying sword's speed decreased, he controlled the golden heavenly halberd and the desolate war halberd to immediately break the sword formation. After breaking the sword formation in a few moves, Night Sorrow shot out the Icefire Motherchild spear at Greenbeard. At the same time that Greenbeard wanted to dodge, he cast the Divine Essence Trapping Array and Merit Trapping Array. Junior, you have some skills, but your strength is too low, and the grade of your attack is too low. Sealed by the double trap array, Greenbeard only needed to sense a little before raising his state to the peak. Then, he took out a short sword and broke the two arrays. He used an ultimate skill to welcome the Icefire Motherchild spear. The technique that Qing Bearded Z executed was called the Seven Swords of Heavenly Scar. After it was executed, it immediately slashed out 7 rays of sword light. It looked more beautiful than the Icefire Motherchild spear. In addition, he had just advanced to half-step Supreme Realm, Stage 4, so the power was still very strong. After the collision, it immediately dissolved Night Sorrow's attack. And there was still a trace of power that continued to pierce towards Night Sorrow. Your strength has yet to reach the level of level 4. Facing Greenbeard's sword, Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe and said disdainfully. Then he sent out a palm to break the sword move directly. He did not even use an ultimate skill. Junior, with your experience, what can you see? While Greenbeard roared, he took out a dragon-shaped jade pendant and activated it. In the air, a giant dragon that was 100 feet long suddenly appeared and cooperated with him to attack Night Sorrow. After the giant dragon joined in, Night Sorrow's battle became much more strenuous. However, both of them had fought for more than 100 rounds and Qing Bearded Z still could not suppress Night Sorrow. At this moment, Little Fool said telepathically, "You're right. Qing Bearded Z's strength is not comparable to Jing Hai's. If you use the Calamity Thunder to attack, it's a waste of resources." Yes. I haven't ignited my blood force yet, and I'm already locked in battle with him. Such an opponent can be used to feed my moves. Night Sorrow, who was in the middle of the battle, replied. Now that he had gotten used to the strength of Qing Bearded Z and the giant dragon, the battle was getting easier and easier. As for Qing Bearded Z, the more he fought, the more shocked he became. Before the battle, he had never expected that Night Sorrow, who was half-stepped to Supreme Realm, could unleash such powerful combat strength. If he had known, he would not have blindly started the battle. If we continue to fight, I won't be able to gain any advantage. Why don't we escape? After fighting for a while, Qing Bearded Z realized that Night Sorrow had started to use him to practice his moves. Immediately, he had the thought of escaping. Trying to escape? If you attack me, you have to be prepared to die. During the battle, Night Sorrow could already feel Qing Bearded Z's desire to escape. He shouted disdainfully and then launched an even more violent attack. He combined some of the magical powers that Yan Hengshi had taught him, and used them one after another. Under such circumstances, Qing Bearded Z became even more flustered. He had realized that Night Sorrow had not used his full strength. After fighting for more than 10 rounds, he said regretfully, "Night Demon, I was wrong in this matter. How about this? You let bygones be bygones and I'll return planet Qing Xian to you. I'll also give you some star coins." It's too late to talk about this now. There's only one outcome for a heartless thing like you. And that is to be converted into energy. Night Sorrow did not leave any room for negotiation in the face of Qing Bearded Z's apology. At the same time, he ignited his blood force and prepared to launch the final attack. At this moment, Qing Bearded Z suddenly said, "Night Demon, if you don't kill me, I'll tell you a shocking secret." "Oh, what do you know? Tell me." Night Sorrow, who was about to end him with one blow, stopped and said, "I know a shocking secret. That is, after the 3 Supremes completely awaken, they will devour all the cultivators who have the potential to enter the Supremes. They want to cultivate the Supremes for the 3 Supremes to devour. The 3 Supremes can use the method of devouring the Supremes to increase their cultivation level. Otherwise, why would they be so kind as to hand over the foggy area to everyone?" Qing Bearded Z did not hesitate to tell him everything. "How do you know about this?" Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately thought of the Mountain of Flames and the hidden mission. He felt that what Qing Bearded Z said made sense. Yes. Chapter 34:10. No. Senior Yan Hengshi clearly told me these things. Why can't I remember? At this moment, Night Sorrow suddenly remembered that Yan Hengshi had said these things. However, he could only vaguely remember the outline, and could not remember some of the details. For a cultivator who was half a step to the Supreme Realm, forgetting some things was more difficult than remembering them. There was definitely something wrong. Yi Shang was astonished. He didn't know what had happened. What is he thinking about? Greenbeard, who had been completely desperate and ready to surrender, became absent-minded when he saw Night Sorrow. He immediately began to get restless. At this moment, Little Fool warned in a cold voice, "If you have the intention to continue fighting, what awaits you is death." "I've already surrendered. What's the point of fighting?" Greenbeard, who was locked on by the Eternal Divine Tower, said awkwardly. At this moment, Night Sorrow began to use the power of merit to check his body. He knew that with his ability, he would not forget such an important thing. As the power of merit searched his body, Night Sorrow soon discovered something that made him shudder. There was a shadow in his body that was gnawing at his memories. After discovering that he was possessed by the shadow, Night Sorrow used the power of merit to attack and roared, "You are Extreme Destruction Supremacy?" Because this figure was the clone he had seen in the Mountain of Flames. "Ha! I didn't expect you to discover me." After sending this message to Yi Shang, the black figure sneered. "Since you've discovered me, you'd better be prepared to be killed. You spy of the Eternal Supreme Realm." After possessing Night Sorrow, this Supreme Supremacy clone already knew many things about Night Sorrow. "I know. The problem lies with the scroll, or the Supreme Supremacy bone. Let's see who can destroy who." After this Supreme Supremacy clone appeared, Night Sorrow recalled that he had obtained the Supreme Supremacy bone, and the scroll that could cultivate to the Supreme Supremacy level. Using the power of merit to sense it, he discovered that it was the scroll's problem. Immediately, he took out the scroll from the space and threw it into the void. "This is an item of the Supreme Exalted level. Night Demon, you actually chose to throw it away. What a waste." When Greenbeard saw Night Sorrow toss out a Supreme Exalted item, he was immediately astonished. At the same time, greed rose in his heart. "If you like it, then take it." After throwing out the scroll, Night Sorrow suddenly felt his body lighten. Using his virtuous power, he found that the Supreme Venerable's clone had left with the scroll. He immediately used the power of merit to purify himself. While Night Sorrow was purifying his body, he suddenly shot the fire and ice alphabet gun at the scroll. Together with the virtuous trapping array, he was prepared to destroy the scroll. In other words, he had to destroy the Supreme Paragon's clone. The Supreme Paragon's clone in the scroll wasn't that powerful. Otherwise, it wouldn't have chosen to possess him instead of making a move. Night Sorrow still had a certain amount of confidence in dealing with him. Furthermore, he knew a few things about the Eternal Paragon world. If he wasn't destroyed, The cultivators in the Night Devil territory would be in grave danger. At this moment, a strange flame suddenly burned in Greenbeard's eyes. He used his short sword to use his ultimate skill to help the scroll break Night Sorrow's virtuous trapping array, and the fire and ice alphabet gun. The scroll that escaped from the array flew directly to Greenbeard's body, and was collected by him. Looking at the burning flames in Greenbeard's eyes, Night Sorrow immediately understood that he had been controlled by the Supreme Paragon's clone in the scroll. At the same time, a thought suddenly flashed through his mind. He said coldly, "I know. You're not the clone of Extreme Exalt, you're the clone of Extreme Exalt." At this moment, he remembered what Yin Hengshi had said. Extreme Exalt killed, Extreme Exalt burned, and Extreme Exalt refined pills and weapons. The flames in Greenbeard's eyes and the mountain of flames allowed him to distinguish the other party's identity. Hehe. You have some brains. But today you will die without a doubt. With this seat's help, Azurebeard will easily defeat you. After Extreme Exalt's clone controlled Greenbeard's body, he laughed confidently. Then he controlled Greenbeard, who was a half-step Supreme Realm 4th stage, to fight with Night Sorrow. This Extreme Exalt's clone had the battle experience of Supreme Paragon. Under his control, Greenbeard's combat strength soared. It was still not inferior to a half-step Supreme Realm 5th stage. After fighting for a few rounds, Night Sorrow was suppressed. Then, although he began to use the Eternal Divine Tower, he was still not a match for Extreme Exalt's clone and Greenbeard. At this moment, Little Fool, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, transmitted his voice. "Looks like we're in big trouble. The opponent in front of us is even stronger than the 3 deputy deans. We're not a match. If it was a normal battle, we wouldn't have a chance at all. After all, Supreme Paragon has the ability to turn stone into gold. It allows Greenbeard's strength to increase qualitatively. But this Extreme Exalt's clone knows a lot about us. No matter what method we come up with today, we should kill him. Otherwise, the Night Devil territory will be snatched for nothing." Night Sorrow replied through voice transmission. In his opinion, since Extreme Exalt's clone did not attack him directly and possess Greenbeard, there must be a weakness. However, he could not recall it at the moment. "In my opinion, this clone of his doesn't even have 1,000th of Extreme Exalt soul power. The most precious thing he has is some memories," Little Fool judged. He believed that the Extreme Exalt's clone in front of him was very weak, and relied on Greenbeard's body to unleash the strength in front of him. Actually, this was similar to what Night Sorrow had thought. After pondering for a moment, Night Sorrow said, "Next, I'll try a soul attack. Let's see if it can cause damage." Then, under the situation of being suppressed, Night Sorrow suddenly used the soul-devouring dragon roar on Greenbeard's clone who was controlling Greenbeard. Buzz. After a loud trembling sound came from the void, Greenbeard's body suddenly trembled. However, his eyes only became clear for a moment before they burned with flames again. At this time, Extreme Exalt's clone who was controlling Greenbeard's body said, "You ants are too weak in front of Extreme Exalt. Don't try to counterattack, prepare to die. What I hate the most is everything in the Eternal Supreme World." Then he controlled Greenbeard's body and used a set of extremely exquisite sword moves. "Not good. We can't block this sword move. Let's think of a way to escape." Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe and found that the exquisiteness of this sword move had exceeded his understanding. He could not see through it at all, and the idea of escaping immediately arose in his heart. He immediately used the Divine Essence Trapping Array and the Merit Trapping Array, as well as the 100 Words technique. "In front of me, you ant, you still want to escape? Is that possible?" Senior Limitless Clone who was controlling Qing Shuzi easily destroyed the 2 trapping arrays and the word seal. Chapter 34:11. After breaking Night Sorrow's unique skill, Limitless Supremacy, who was controlling Greenbeard, immediately spat out white flames that were mixed with some purple. When the flames were spat out, they immediately covered the surrounding void. Night Sorrow was also wrapped in it. Little Fool immediately said, "I can't take this flame. Quickly keep the Eternal Divine Tower into the Space Grotto Heaven." Okay. As Night Sorrow kept the Eternal Divine Tower into the Space Grotto Heaven, he released his godly territory and power of merit. However, these defenses were quickly burned to ashes by the flames released by limitless supremacy. They didn't have any defensive effect at all. After breaking through the defenses, the flames immediately started burning Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow immediately felt pain coming from his body after being burned by such high-grade flames. Then, the flames started burning his godly soul. Being burned like this, Night Sorrow quickly couldn't take it anymore, and immediately released the power of ice. He used it to fight against the flames. However, even after using Frost Saint King's power of frost, he still couldn't break through the flames. Little Fool, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, said, "Limitless Supremacy is an expert in controlling fire. If his flames keep burning, you won't be able to withstand it. The only chance I have now is to destroy Qing Suzi's body. My guess is about the same as yours. However, we are being burned by the flames and Greenbeard has the strength of half a step to the Supreme Realm. It's almost impossible to kill him in an instant." Night Sorrow said helplessly. Greenbeard's body was controlled by Limitless Supremacy's doppelganger, and immediately displayed extraordinary strength. It made him feel like he couldn't resist it. "Shall I try using the Lightning Calamity?" Little Fool continued. Under the current circumstances, he could only make such an attempt. This method is useless. The waiter had just finished speaking when Yishang refuted. "What else can we do? If this goes on, won't we die for sure?" Little Fool said in despair after hearing Night Sorrow's words. At this moment, Limitless Supremacy, who was controlling Greenbeard's body, laughed arrogantly. Night Sorrow pondered for a moment and transmitted his voice amidst the ear-piercing laughter. "The situation now is extremely difficult, but it's not certain that we will die." "Oh, is there a way to fight back?" Little Fool asked, puzzled. Limitless Supremacy's doppelganger was definitely in existence that they couldn't touch. He couldn't think of any way to break through it. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice. "We can't fight him with our strength, but it doesn't mean that everyone can't. Let's go find Senior Yen." After saying that, Night Sorrow's body was covered in flames. Sorrow's body. At this moment, if he didn't do this, he definitely wouldn't be able to survive. Thus he made this attempt. "You want to escape? Where can you escape to in this boundless sea of stars?" Seeing that Night Sorrow wanted to escape, Limitless Sovereign chased after him with a sneer, and increased the intensity of his flames. Night Sorrow flew with great difficulty under the burning flames of a half-step to the Supreme Realm. Greenbeard's smile became more and more evil. After Night Sorrow flew for a while, Limitless Supremacy, who was controlling Greenbeard, said softly, "It's a pity to kill you. But if I don't kill you, it might spoil things. Should I keep you alive to devour or kill you?" He had the ability to end Night Sorrow's life in one blow. But he hesitated. Because there weren't many people with the aptitude of a Supreme Realm. There weren't many people in the world who could truly advance to the Supreme Realm. Night Sorrow was one of the few who had the confidence to do so. To Limitless Supremacy, this kind of existence could raise his cultivation by a small realm in the Supreme Realm. It was very rare. So he didn't want to kill him now. "You don't have the ability to kill him." Just as Limitless Supremacy's doppelganger was hesitating, a cold voice suddenly sounded and interrupted his thoughts. Limitless Supremacy, who was controlling Greenbeard's doppelganger, looked over and was shocked. This was because a gigantic skull had appeared in the distant void. Although this skull was only a half-step to the Supreme Realm, it was obviously stronger than Greenbeard's body. Even if he had the ability to turn stone into gold, he knew that he couldn't control Greenbeard to defeat the huge skull in front of him. After thinking for a moment, he immediately controlled Bluebeard's body and slashed at Yi Sorrow with an extremely exquisite sword strike. He wanted to pierce Night Sorrow's dantian. "I'm here. How dare you be so arrogant?" At this moment, the skull in the void roared and spat out a mouthful of teeth. One of them knocked away the sword that was thrusting out. As for the rest, they all shot towards Greenbeard's body. "Which Supreme Realm are you? An ordinary half-step to the Supreme Realm can't unleash such an exquisite attack." Limitless Supremacy's doppelganger, who was controlling Greenbeard's body, immediately roared when he saw that all the teeth had turned into rays of light, and shot towards Greenbeard's body. "You're just a doppelganger that's about to die. What right do you have to ask about my identity?" The moment the rays of light pierced through Greenbeard's body, the huge skull said disdainfully. At this moment, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little Fool. This is Senior Yin Hengshi. He's controlling the skeleton's body to fight. Senior has a complete soul body. He's not someone that Limitless Supremacy's doppelganger can fight against. We're safe. Phew. Fortunately, this happened in the endless sea of stars. Otherwise, we might have died. Little Fool said with some lingering fear. Maybe this is called luck. Night Sorrow said helplessly. Then he transmitted his voice to the huge skull. Senior, thank you for saving my life. Don't mention it. If I didn't want you to temper yourself in the flames for a while longer, I would have attacked long ago. Yin Hengshi transmitted his voice and then controlled the skull to attack Qing Bearded Man's body again. Under his terrifying attack, Limitless Supremacy's doppelganger didn't resist much and was completely killed. Greenbeard was reduced to dust and didn't leave anything behind. Yin Hengshi's strength was evident. What's going on with your body? After killing the other party, Yin Hengshi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I've been hit by Nangongha's demonic flame death curse. Night Sorrow replied and then asked, Senior, have you heard of this curse? I've never heard of this demonic flame death curse. Maybe I've heard of it before and forgot about it after my rebirth. Yin Hengshi recalled for a moment, but couldn't find any memory of the demonic flame death curse. After thinking for a moment, he said, let me try and see if I can dispel this demonic flame death curse with the power of Limitless Supremacy. Then he used the power of Limitless Supremacy to try and dispel the demonic flame death curse. Chapter 34:12. After Yin Hengshi made his move, the demonic flame death curse on Night Sorrow's body was suppressed to a certain extent. However, it was not completely removed. After the experiment, Yin Hengshi sighed and said, if I had a complete supreme body, I could completely remove this curse. But right now, only my soul is complete. It's okay, Senior. The demonic flame death curse has been suppressed a little, and it has reduced my torture. Please don't mind it too much. After Yin Hengshi made his move, Night Sorrow did feel a little better. The pressure brought by the demonic flame death curse was reduced a lot. He immediately comforted him, and then took out a part of the supreme bones he had obtained and said, Senior, does this belong to you? It's true. How did you get it? Yin Hengshi, who was controlling the giant skull, observed it for a while and asked excitedly. It was given to me by Limitless Supremacy when I climbed the mountain of flames. Look at this bone and see if he did anything to it. After confirming that the bone belonged to Yin Hengshi, Night Sorrow said in a good mood. Now he knew that after the three supreme supremacies recovered, they would bring chaos to the world. While he was anxious to improve his strength, he also hoped that Yin Hengshi and Yin Hengshi would recover quickly. How could Limitless Supremacy be so kind? He had added some hidden auras to the bones. This aura is very weak, but after he comes out of seclusion, he can find me at any time. Yin Hengshi used his soul power to scan the Supreme Supremacy bone in front of him and judged. Then Senior, can you remove this aura? Night Sorrow looked at Yin Hengshi and asked. Yes, but it will take time. Yin Hengshi said and continued. After obtaining this bone, I can sense the rest of the Supreme Supremacy bones. Thank you, Night Sorrow. I will find a way to get the rest of the bones. You don't have to worry about it. That's best. I hope Senior can recover soon and come out to take charge of the situation. Otherwise, we will be defeated quickly after the three Supreme Supremacies appear. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said. He knew that the three Supreme Supremacies must be extremely terrifying existences. Their appearance was likely to sweep the entire world, so he felt a sense of crisis. It's impossible to deal with them with just me and Yin. I still need you up-and-coming youngsters to grow up. It's just that the other geniuses all have their hearts in the fog right now. Even if we tell them what the three Supreme Supremes are plotting, they might not necessarily believe us. This is very disadvantageous to the situation. Yin Hengshi voiced his judgment. Back then, the three Supreme Paragons had led the foggy region to victory over the Eternal Supreme World. Almost all the geniuses had been recruited into the Killer Heaven Academy and the Fog. Now there were not many who could stand up against them. The situation was extremely difficult. Upon hearing that, Knight Sorrow said, "Senior, you once said that there might be supreme venerables among the big clans that are being attacked by the Killer Heaven Academy. Are we able to target them? There should be 1 or 2 supreme venerables in these large families." However, due to the intimidation of the 3 supreme venerables, they did not dare to show their faces. Even if his family was destroyed, he wouldn't do anything. It shouldn't be easy to find. Leave these matters to me. You can just focus on dispelling the devil flame death curse in your body, and focus on increasing your strength. The 3 supreme paragons were about to come out of seclusion. The world is about to be plunged into misery and suffering. Yen Hengshi looked in a direction and said. At this moment, Knight Sorrow asked, "Senior, in the Star Hall of the Endless Sea of Stars, you can exchange for a starship that is half a step to 3rd grade and above to enter the void. Are you familiar with this void?" "I've been there before. The creatures there are more powerful than the foggy region. If you go there, you should be able to increase your strength quickly. However, you can't advance to Supreme Venerables. There are no opportunities for Supreme Venerables there. This has been proven a long time ago." Yen Hengshi judged with certainty. In the void, the star beasts were very powerful and there were some opportunities, but there were no Supreme Venerables. Therefore, it was impossible to advance to Supreme Venerables there. "Okay, Senior. If there's nothing else, I'll go do my own thing," Knight Sorrow said to Yen Hengshi and prepared to go to Night Demon Planet to obtain the opportunities. As for the contract related to Qing Xian Planet, it had been destroyed along with Qing Suzi in the battle just now. It was almost impossible to obtain the opportunities, so he was not prepared to try. At this moment, Yen Hengshi said, "Knight Sorrow, remember the world we live in is now distorted. If you want to protect this world, you must defeat the 3 supreme venerables in the future. Therefore, you must increase your strength at all costs. Do you understand?" "Senior, I understand. But how do I advance to Supreme Venerables?" Knight Sorrow asked doubtfully. His strength was increasing smoothly now, but he did not know how to advance to Supreme Venerables. When you reach the peak of half a step to Supreme Venerables, you will naturally have an epiphany. This is something that can't be done without Supreme Venerables. No one can help you with it. Because of this, some people will be forever blocked out of Supreme Venerables. Yen Hengshi said word by word. To be able to enter Supreme Venerables, one must rely on one's aptitude and opportunities. "I understand, Senior. See you next time." After getting the answer he wanted, Knight Sorrow said goodbye to Yen Hengshi and went directly to Night Demon Planet. After arriving at Night Demon Planet, Knight Sorrow took out the astral contract. According to the experience he had learned from Greenbeard, he activated the fortuitous opportunity. When the opportunity of the Night Demon Star was activated, it didn't cause any trouble for Yishang. A round bead rose up from the hidden array formation. Knight Sorrow used his divine spirit to check it and praised, "What pure energy! Yes, this kind of energy should be able to be absorbed directly. If you absorb it directly, you can advance to half a step to Supreme Venerable's 2nd stage." Little Fool, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, said, Although this kind of energy is different from the elixir that Greenbeard swallowed, the effect should be similar. Let me try." Knight Sorrow replied to Little Fool and released his divine spirit to collect the pearl in front of him. Then he set up a hidden array and entered the Eternal Divine Tower to collect it. As the energy was absorbed, Knight Sorrow's strength began to increase bit by bit. After spending about a year in the Eternal Divine Tower, Knight Sorrow's body suddenly emitted a fluorescent light. This was the sign that he was about to advance. However, just as Knight Sorrow was about to welcome the arrival of half a step to Supreme Venerable's 2nd stage, the Devil Flame Death curse on his body suddenly exploded and absorbed a lot of the energy needed to advance. It suppressed the momentum that was supposed to advance. This damn Devil Flame Death curse. With the momentum of his advancement interrupted, Knight Sorrow said angrily and continued, "Let's go to the Star Hall to exchange for things and then head to the void." www. Chapter 34:13. The first time this devil flame death curse erupted, it prevented Night Sorrow from advancing to the second stage of the half-step supreme realm. This made him very unhappy. He was prepared to exchange for a starship immediately, and go to the Sea of Sun in the Void to find a way to break this devil flame death curse. When he reached the Star Hall, Night Sorrow went directly to the exchange office on the 7th floor. This was the exchange point for the third stage of the half-step supreme realm. He spent 2 million to exchange for 2 identical third-stage starships. He felt that there were definitely many dangers in the void. If he only had 1 starship, he would not have the confidence to do anything. Then he used the remaining star coins to exchange for elixirs, which were needed in battle. He did not have any third-stage half-step supreme realm elixirs. After exchanging for resources, Night Sorrow left with the Eternal Divine Tower. After Night Sorrow left the Star Hall, the elder who had just exchanged for resources for him immediately sent a voice transmission to Nangonghe. Deputy Dean, the Night Demon really did what you said. He exchanged for starships and elixirs. Obviously, he is going to the void. You did well. You don't have to tell anyone else about this. Soon, Nangonghe replied. After that, she communicated with the elder for a while and summoned Jinghai and the other 2 cultivators. She said, according to my judgment, the Night Demon is going to the Sea of Sunday. The 3 of you will use him to obtain the treasure in the Sea of Sunday. Then he would directly eradicate them. Do you understand? Yes, Aunt. Auntie. Jinghai immediately responded. He hated Night Sorrow very much. What about you? After Jinghai replied, Nangonghe looked at the other 2 cultivators, a male and a female. Both of them had a cultivation of the 4th grade half-step to the Supreme Realm, which was slightly higher than Jinghai's. Hearing Nangonghe's words, the male cultivator, Bai Wuji, laughed sinisterly. Wuji has something I don't understand. With just the few of us, can't we obtain the treasure you mentioned? Do we have to rely on the Night Demon? The female cultivator, Murongxiu, also said, yes. The 3 of us are geniuses with Supreme Realm aptitude. Can't we compare to a first-stage half-step Supreme Realm Night Demon? The 2 of them seemed to have taken Nangonghe's words to heart. Haha. I know you are all prideful, but this Night Devil is very special. His body had extremely powerful ice and fire powers. Only those who possess these 2 powers could possibly open the Sea of the Sun's treasures. This is also the reason why I didn't obtain that supreme treasure back then. So it's not that you guys aren't outstanding. It's just that your attributes aren't right. Nangong explained with a smile. She admired Bai Wuji and Murongxiu very much. So that's the case. Wuji knows. Hearing Nangonghe's explanation, Bai Wuji nodded. Like Murongxiu, he was one of the top geniuses in the Lu Tian Academy. He was proud and arrogant, unwilling to submit to anyone. Naturally, he did not think that he was inferior to Night Sorrow. Now that you know the reason, go back and prepare the starship and other items. 3 days later, come back and meet me here. Jinghai, stay here. After Nangonghe finished speaking, she looked at Jinghai and asked him to stay. As for Bai Wuji and Murongxiu, they said goodbye and left Nangonghe's place. After the 2 of them left, Jinghai, who had been looking at Nangonghe respectfully, suddenly had a strange look on his face. At this moment, Nangonghe smiled and said, don't worry. No one can see what happens here. Hearing this, Jinghai immediately relaxed. He walked to Nangonghe's side and slowly removed her robe. He began to do the deed on the bed. When the 2 of them got into the rhythm, Nangonghe moaned and said, if you work harder, I'll give you another 10 war generals. Yes, Aunt. Jinghai agreed and began to fight for the new 10 great battle generals. He knew that with the new 10 war generals, he would have the advantage in terms of strength against Night Sorrow, Bai Wuji, and Murongxiu. Night Sorrow, who was completely unaware of the relationship between Jinghai and Nangonghe, returned to Nangonghe's city. He then returned to the Night Demon Territory's friend-gathering city. He met with his friends and told them about the following matters. Then he took the Eternal Divine Tower and drove the starship according to the coordinates on the map. Not long after, he entered the vast starry sky and began to travel in the Sea of Stars. Because he knew that the Sun Sea was not something that could be reached in a short period of time. While the starship was traveling, Night Sorrow began to cultivate the 100-word mantra again. However, this time he did not enter the eternal divine tower. Instead, he sat on the deck of the starship and began to comprehend in the sea of stars. He traversed the boundless void. The atmosphere was completely different from the eternal divine tower. Feeling the power of the boundless void, Night Sorrow gradually immersed himself in cultivation. In this state of meditation, he spent about 10 years and finally comprehended the last word of the 100-word mantra. Thus, he successfully mastered the 100-word mantra. After mastering the 100-word mantra, Night Sorrow discovered that the grade of the 100-word mantra should be at the 5th stage of the half-step supreme realm. It was also the peak of the half-step supreme realm. Moreover, after truly comprehending it, he did not use all the 100-word mantra. Instead, it could be combined into one word. For example, attack. For example, defend. It could be used to strengthen oneself or weaken the enemy. It was very useful. Night Sorrow looked at a meteor not far from him, and suddenly used the defend word mantra. Immediately, the meteor that was flying stopped in the void. The effect is not bad. It's much stronger than before. Moreover, it has surpassed the Divine Essence Trap Array and the Merit Trap Array. After a simple test, Night Sorrow was very satisfied with the power of this move. At this moment, Shower praised, "This 100-word mantra is really good. It's basically the peak of an auxiliary type of unique skill. It should be the peak of the half-step supreme realm." Night Sorrow added. Then he calmed down and began to study the divine powers that he had learned. He wanted to combine a few moves that were suitable for half-step supreme realm. However, he had just sat on the deck and had not completely entered the state. In the starry sky, he saw a huge galactic crocodile that was obviously larger than an ordinary planet. The aura of this galactic crocodile was much stronger than the one he had encountered in the endless ocean. After sensing for a while, Night Sorrow confirmed that it was at the 4th stage of the half-step supreme realm. This area should be its territory. Let's go around it. There's no need to fight. It's a waste of time. After discovering the galactic crocodile, Night Sorrow steered the starship and prepared to go around it in another direction. However, this galactic crocodile had its eyes on him. After the starship changed course, it suddenly chased after him. Chapter 34:14. I didn't want to look for you, but you came to me on your own accord? Do you think you're so great just because you're bigger than a star? Seeing that the giant crocodile had caught up, Night Sorrow stopped the starship and observed with the sea serpent's eye. He wanted to see through the giant crocodile's weakness. After observing, he was impressed by the giant crocodile. Although the giant starry sky crocodile was huge, its defense did not have any weaknesses. Obviously, it had trained its body well. After taking a closer look, Night Sorrow said to the Eternal Divine Tower, "This crocodile looks good. What do you think about taking it as a battle pet?" "Haha, that's a good idea. I think this crocodile would be great as a mount. It's a half-step to the Supreme Realm, much better than your half-step to the Supreme Realm starship." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Little Fool said with a smile. After several battles, they were confident that they could fight against a half-step to the Supreme Realm. "I can use it to test the 100 words mantra that I just learned. You guys can watch from the sidelines." Seeing that the giant crocodile was flying over, Night Sorrow took out the golden heavenly halberd and the desolation halberd. He shot the ice-fire mother spear at the giant crocodile. 2 dazzling rays of light bloomed as soon as this move was made. By the time it reached the giant crocodile, the light had already covered it. Buzz! The light hit the giant crocodile's huge body, leaving 2 bloody marks that were hundreds of thousands of miles long. It didn't dodge? Originally, Night Sorrow had only launched a probing attack, and he had prepared a backup plan. However, he was surprised to find that the giant crocodile didn't dodge his attack at all. After the giant crocodile was hit, it let out an earth-shattering howl. Originally, it thought that Night Sorrow was just a half-step to the Supreme Realm and didn't take it seriously at all. Now that it was attacked, it suddenly realized how terrifying its opponent was. At the same time, it was completely enraged. It roared to the sky and spat a mouthful of demonic flames at Night Sorrow. Do you only know how to attack instinctively? Upon seeing the giant starry sky crocodile's basic attack, Knight Sorrow executed his 9 defiant steps to dodge. Suddenly he was astonished. This was because the giant starry sky crocodile before him was obviously much stronger than the one he had encountered in the endless starry sky. However, the method of attack looked too crude, as if it was the instinct of a beast. Starry sky 10,000 crocodiles slash. Just as Knight Sorrow was feeling surprised, the giant star alligator, who had closed the distance between them, suddenly performed an ultimate skill. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of small crocodiles similar in size to Knight Sorrow appeared in the void. After these small crocodiles appeared, they swarmed towards Knight Sorrow. So this giant starry sky crocodile knows an ultimate attack. It was just pretending just now. How cunning! When the tiny crocodiles in the void approached, Knight Sorrow observed them with the sea serpent's eye and realized that they were all energy bodies. Because there were too many of them, it was almost impossible to dodge. Therefore, he released his own divine domain and used the defense character art on himself. He increased his defense by several times. With the support of the 100 words mantra, he felt that it was much easier for him to fight against the crocodiles. However, at this moment, the many small crocodiles that were attacking him suddenly gathered together in the void. It formed an extremely huge crocodile shadow, and then suddenly bombarded over. As the distance was very close, Knight Sorrow definitely could not dodge this move. He instantly complained, "This crocodile is really evil." After that, he set up the Divine Essence trapping formation and Merit trapping formation around himself to block this attack. He also used the defense character art to weaken the giant star alligator's attack by a lot. However, even so, he was still blasted out after being hit by the giant star alligator's 10,000 crocodiles slash. Countless bloody scars appeared on his body from the bombardment. Foolish cultivator. After the successful attack, the giant star alligator, who was originally a little depressed, suddenly laughed. Then, it spat out a simple flame attack at Knight Sorrow again. This attack was just a mockery of him. It did not have any power at all. It's too early for you to be happy. At this moment, Knight Sorrow activated the Leaken bloodline in his body. He quickly healed his wounds. Then he activated the Treastrimsa Star Ruin's secret battle technique and destruction divine ability. He also used the attack character art to enhance himself. He used the golden heavenly halberd to shoot the godly spear at the giant star alligator. He used the Desolation Halberd to shoot the Star Ruins spear with the Star Ruins attribute. This move was a fusion of the power of the Star Ruins and the various divine abilities that he had mastered. This was the first time he used it. After the Star Ruins spear was used, it immediately covered the light of the godly spear. It looked like this spear had absorbed all the light of the entire starry sky. It was very beautiful. This spear is not simple. The giant star alligator was not stupid at all. When it saw Knight Sorrow shoot out such 2 spears, it immediately began to dodge in fear. However, after shrinking its body by almost 1,000 times and began to dodge, it realized that it could only dodge one of the moves. In an instant, the giant star alligator did not hesitate at all, and chose to dodge the Star Ruin spear. Then it shot out 2 huge fangs to block the godly spear. Looks like you're not that cunning. At this moment, Knight Sorrow smiled slightly. Then he burned his Phoenix bloodline, Scale bloodline and Leaken bloodline. He used the golden heavenly halberd to shoot out the strongest godly spear. After being stabbed, the giant star alligator's huge fangs were immediately shattered. After breaking through the fangs, Knight Sorrow, who was holding the golden heavenly halberd, directly pierced through the giant star alligator's huge body. In fact, the Star Ruin spear that the Desolation Halberd had shot out just looked beautiful. It was obviously a fake move. The cunning giant star alligator had obviously been hit. Oh! After being pierced by the spear, the giant star alligator immediately let out a shocking howl. It was obviously severely injured. At this moment, Knight Sorrow did not hesitate. He called back the Desolation Halberd that had flown out, and shot out a strengthened version of the Icefire Motherchild spear. He did not hold back at all in this move, and the giant star alligator that had just been severely injured faced the Icefire Motherchild spear. It burned its bloodline power directly, and then suddenly opened its mouth, wanting to swallow Night Sorrow, the golden heavenly halberd, and the desolation halberd. This giant star alligator is not stupid at all. This move is definitely not simple. The giant star alligator did not dodge, and instead wanted to swallow him. This immediately alerted Night Sorrow. In the probing battle just now, he had already figured out the other party's temper. He knew that this giant star alligator was not stupid at all. Therefore, after he shot out the Icefire Motherchild spear, he used the Heaven Inverse Roaming Dragon art to dodge. Crack! Just as Night Sorrow dodged, the giant star alligator suddenly shut its mouth. It directly shattered the Icefire Motherchild spear that he shot out. Chapter 34:15. What a powerful ability! Night Sorrow, who had dodged the attack, knew that this should be the strongest attack of the giant starry sky crocodile. At the same time he exclaimed. He sent a voice transmission to Little Fool. I am going to launch the final attack. Get ready to collect it. He knew that after the giant starry sky crocodile used its trump card, it should not have any more powerful moves to use. It should not be difficult to deal with it. As for himself, he could use countless moves. This was something he had learned through countless battles. Don't worry. I have been preparing. Hearing this, the waiter immediately responded. It was much more convenient for the Eternal Divine Tower to collect such a huge creature than Night Sorrow himself. Get ready. Oh yes, don't use the Thunder Calamity that we collected. Night Sorrow replied and continued to fight with the giant starry sky crocodile. The reality was as he had expected. Although the giant starry sky crocodile had only used a few moves, it was already exhausted. When they fought again, it could no longer use any more powerful attacks. It kept repeating some of the attack patterns that it had just used. It had already figured out these few moves, so it did not suffer any damage. Then, Night Sorrow used a few moves, a new pinnacle technique that he had recently comprehended. He kept causing damage to the giant starry sky crocodile. After an hour of fighting, the giant starry sky crocodile was defeated. It began to flee nonstop in the void. However, its speed was not as fast as Night Sorrow, who had used the Heaven Inverse Dragon roaming skill. It could not widen the distance between them. After chasing the giant starry sky crocodile, Night Sorrow sent a voice transmission. Do it. Okay. Little Fool immediately controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to keep the giant starry sky crocodile. After the giant starry sky crocodile was kept in the Eternal Divine Tower, Night Sorrow sent a voice transmission. Submit or die. Make your choice. I choose to give you a large amount of resources in exchange for my freedom. What do you think? The giant starry sky crocodile replied after receiving the voice transmission. I don't need resources. After Night Sorrow rejected it directly, he continued. I will give you 10 breaths of time to consider. If you don't submit, you will die and turn into energy. After saying that, he started to wait. 10 breaths later he asked, have you made up your mind? I choose to submit. However, can I use resources to exchange for some restrictions on the number of years? When the giant starry sky crocodile chose to submit, it started to bargain. What do you mean? Night Sorrow asked. I'll provide you with a lot of resources, and you'll shorten the time I have to serve you from eternity to 3,000 years. 3,000 years later, I will return to my clan to inherit the throne. The giant starry sky crocodile continued. Oh, does this mean that you are a very special existence among the giant crocodiles? Night Sorrow said to the celestial alligator in the Eternal Divine Tower. Hearing this, the giant celestial crocodile immediately said, of course. If you don't have some ability, why would you appear in this void? Good. I'll agree to it. If I'm satisfied with your resources, I'll only let you serve me for 3,000 years. Night Sorrow's goal in the void was to go to the Sea of the Sun and remove the Devil Flame curse. It was estimated that 3,000 years had passed. After saying that, he made the giant starry sky crocodile swear a heavenly Tao oath. After that, he would bring him back to his lair and find the hidden resources. The resources that the giant starry sky crocodile mentioned were large amounts of star ruin stones. These star ruin stones contained a large amount of star ruins power. To Night Sorrow, it was really a pretty good help. He observed for a while and said, I promise you, I'll let you leave within 3,000 years. All right. Your Excellency, where is our next goal going? The giant starry sky crocodile that was released already shrunk its body by a lot. It already looked about the same as Night Sorrow's starship. After the giant starry sky crocodile finished asking, Night Sorrow took out the map and said, Our goal is called the Sea of the Sun. It's about 100 years away from us. From today onwards, you'll be my mount and accompany me to the Sea of the Sun. Sea of the Sun? Your Excellency, you want to enter the Sea of the Sun? Hearing this, the giant starry sky crocodile was immediately surprised. Yes. What's wrong with the Sea of the Sun? Night Sorrow opened his mouth to ask while flying onto the giant starry sky crocodile. Your Excellency, in recent years, this Sea of the Sun has been erupting with energy that people can't withstand. There will be stars exploding at the slightest provocation. Those who go, 8 to 9 out of 10 will all perish inside. It's seriously too dangerous. No one dares to go anymore. The giant starry sky crocodile explained somewhat fearfully. In recent years, the Sea of the Sun had already completely become a forbidden zone. Very few people dared to step into it. I have a reason that I must go. This risk must be taken. Although Night Sorrow was clear about the dangers involved, he still opened his mouth to give the order. To him, if the fiend flame death curse could not be removed, it was no different from death. Therefore the Sea of the Sun was a must. Why? With your talent, do you still need to go there and take the risk to compete for resources? The giant starry sky crocodile asked in puzzlement while flying. I'm not going to compete for resources. Instead, I'm going to find a way to remove the fiend flame death curse on me. This curse makes me unable to advance my cultivation realm. Thinking of the failure to advance to half-step extreme realm second stage, Night Sorrow said somewhat gloomily, cultivation to him, or every cultivator, was something as important as their life. So that's how it is. I've heard about this fiend flame death curse. It's indeed very difficult to remove. When the giant starry sky crocodile heard that, he thought for a moment and continued, but I happen to know the way to remove it. Oh, you know the way to remove the fiend flame death curse? When he heard that, Night Sorrow was instantly interested. I know, but if I tell you the method, sir, can you reduce my submission time a little? The giant starry sky crocodile asked slyly. Night Sorrow said without hesitation, as long as you can help me remove this fiend flame death curse, I'll immediately cancel the submission contract with you. The purpose of his trip was to remove the fiend flame death curse. If the giant starry sky crocodile could really help him remove it, it would definitely be a huge favor. All right, it's a deal. The giant starry sky crocodile said excitedly before continuing. In reality, there was originally no way to remove this fiend flame death curse. But later on, someone found a way to remove it in the Sea of the Sun. That is to endure the burning of the sun flames. As long as one is burned by the sun flames for 3 days and 3 nights, the fiend flame death curse will be purified. He saw this method in the records of his clan. Although it was not confirmed, it should be true. Good. Very good. As long as I remove the fiend flame death curse, I'll let you go. Night Sorrow could feel the energy fluctuations in his body. He judged that if he removed the fiend flame death curse, he could immediately advance to half-step extreme realm second stage. He was still looking forward to the trip to the Sea of the Sun. Chapter 34:16. In the following decades, under the lead of the local snake, giant star crocodile, Night Sorrow did not encounter many battles. He successfully arrived at the periphery of the Sea of Sun. Along the way, he had several signs of advancing to half-step Supreme Realm second grade several times. In the end, they were all intercepted by the fiend flame death curse, making him very depressed. His desire to get rid of it became even stronger. After arriving at the periphery of the Sea of Sun, Night Sorrow opened the sea serpent's eye and began to observe. He discovered that there was no danger at the entrance of the Sea of Sunday. He immediately looked at giant star crocodile and said, "Your current size is still a little conspicuous. Can you become like me? Supreme grade servant manga." I can, but I can't fight in human form. Giant Star Crocodile also looked at the entrance of the Sea of Sun and said. He was still very wary of this place with an extremely bad reputation. Then become about my size and enter with me. Standing at the periphery of the Sea of Sun and observing for a while, Night Sorrow felt that the fiend flame death curse in his body was somewhat restless. It made him even more eager to enter. Hearing this, Giant Star Crocodile said, Okay, sir. I'll go in with you. But on the surface, he agreed very easily, but in fact his body was trembling slightly. Clearly, he was afraid of something. You're a half-step Supreme Realm 4th grade expert at any rate. Facing such an environment, what's there to be afraid of? Sensing the fear of Giant Star Crocodile, Night Sorrow said somewhat speechlessly. Sir, you don't know. I have a premonition that we will encounter a terrifying fellow that is very difficult to fight against inside. At this moment, Giant Star Crocodile looked in the direction of the Sea of Sun and said, Oh, was your premonition accurate in the past? Night Sorrow asked in a deep voice. He discovered that the Giant Star Crocodile in front of him was trembling more and more violently. A strange feeling immediately rose in his heart. Actually, it's not entirely a premonition. In this Sea of Sun, there's something that makes my divine soul tremble. I don't know if it's a powerful cultivator or a terrifying environment. Giant Star Crocodile continued. He could sense some things that Night Sorrow could not. Upon hearing this, Night Sorrow said, No matter how dangerous it is, I have to go in. If you're afraid, why don't you enter my space grotto heaven or divine artifact? Forget it, let's go in together. The Giant Starry Sky Crocodile thought for a moment before speaking. It was afraid that it would enter Night Sorrow's space now. They would be brought into the solar flame and burned to death. In that case, follow me. Night Sorrow used his divine sense to scan the map, and then led the Starry Sky Giant Crocodile towards the entrance of the Sea of the Sun. When he was far away, he didn't feel anything. When they were within 1,000,000 miles, they immediately felt an intense flame aura. As they continued to enter, the surrounding temperature began to rise. In the end, it grew to a terrifying state. Night Sorrow and Celestial Alligator both released their protective divine domains, but they still felt very uncomfortable. This kind of heat was different from ordinary flames. It was a bit like roasting one's heart. It caused a clear sense of annoyance to rise in his heart. On the other hand, the demonic flame death curse on Night Sorrow's body became even more violent and restless, roaming wildly in his body. It caused many parts of his body to rise with black gas. Sir, what's wrong with you? Seeing Night Sorrow's state, the giant crocodile immediately asked curiously. The curse in my body has been restless ever since we arrived here. I feel like I can't suppress it anymore. Night Sorrow explained and said, Where can I find the solar flame that you mentioned? This is called the Sea of the Sun. There are countless suns here. Just find any one of them. However, the closer you are, the higher the temperature. It's not easy to bear. The giant crocodile looked into the distance and only saw a patch of white light. It was so bright that its eyes hurt. If the solar flame is ordinary, how can it remove the demonic flame death curse on me? Let's go. Night Sorrow said and used the sea serpent's eye to open a path. He chose a target and flew over with the giant crocodile. At the same time as they flew away from the entrance, 3 figures appeared in the Sea of the Sun at the same time. These 3 people were Jing Hai, Bai Wuji and Morong Xiu, who had been sent by Nan Gongha. Looking in the direction that Night Sorrow was flying, Bai Wuji said with some disdain, This night demon's strength is really pitifully weak. That's right. He and that giant crocodile are no match for us at all. I wonder why Dean Nan Gongha sent the 3 of us together. It's like using a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. Morong Xiu also agreed. She obviously didn't put Yishang in her eyes. At this moment, Jing Hai reminded them, The 2 of you must not be careless. You will be at a disadvantage if you underestimate him. Haha. Is it because you lost to him once that you're afraid of him now? Don't worry, with us here, you won't be at a disadvantage this time. Hearing Jing Hai's words, Bai Wuji said with disdain. He and Morong Xiu were both half-step to the Supreme Realm 4th stage geniuses. Usually they could fight half-step to the Supreme Realm 5th stage. They did not take Night Sorrow, A half step to the Supreme Realm first stage opponent. Seriously at all? Alright. Should we continue to follow or widen the distance? Jing Hai said non-committally. Bai Wuji's arrogance made him feel a little uncomfortable. Widen the distance for now. If necessary, we will close in on him. Din Nangongha said. Bai Wuji said as he looked at Night Sorrow and the giant crocodile in the distance. Someone is following us. Just this glance made Yi Shang feel that something was amiss. Although he did not turn back or release his spiritual strength, he felt that someone was behind them. Who is it? Who would follow us here? The giant crocodile said speechlessly. If no one was following them, he could wait for Night Sorrow outside the solar flame. But now, he could only follow him in and tie his fate with him. I'm not sure. Let's pretend that we don't see him, and continue to do something. Night Sorrow paid more attention to the person behind them. However, he did not turn back to check as he did not want to alert the enemy. Then, he brought the giant crocodile to a scorching star. He asked, "Enter the center of this star and stay there for 3 days and 3 nights. Will my demonic flame death curse be removed?" There's no need to enter the center of the star. Stay on the surface of the star for 3 days and 3 nights. The demonic flame death curse will be removed. The giant crocodile hurriedly explained. He was afraid that Night Sorrow would be burned to ashes if he entered the center of the star. The suns in the Sea of Sun were completely different from those in the outside world. The intensity of the flames was terrifying. Even a half step to the Supreme Realm expert would find it difficult to bear. Alright. I'll enter the solar flame, and think of a way to remove the demonic flame death curse. You have entered my eternal divine tower. If you stay outside, you will definitely be surrounded and attacked. The gains do not make up for the losses. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to the giant crocodile, and kept it in the eternal divine tower. Together with them, they flew towards the scorching star in front of them. www. Chapter 34:17. Just as he approached the celestial body, Night Sorrow felt an unbearable heat to his soul. This heat was much fiercer than the mountain of flames. Even though Night Sorrow's body was very strong, it was still difficult for him to withstand it. He immediately activated the Green Phoenix armor and released his divine territory. He activated the Trayastrimsa Star Ruin's secret technique and destruction divine ability. Then he used the defense seal on himself. He raised his condition to the peak without burning his bloodline, and gradually stabilized in the solar flame. As Night Sorrow was being roasted by the solar flame, the demonic flame death curse in his body immediately erupted. It began to affect his condition. I'm waiting for you. At this moment, Night Sorrow began to use his power of merit to block the demonic flame death curse. He did not use his power of merit earlier, because he was waiting for this moment. After the power of merit was completely released, it immediately purified the demonic flame death curse. At this moment, the demonic flame death curse disappeared again. The power of merit could not find the exact location of the demonic flame death curse, so it became alert in Night Sorrow's body. Phew. Fortunately, the demonic flame death curse is afraid of the power of merit. Otherwise, it would be difficult to deal with. The situation is temporarily stable. After Night Sorrow used his power of merit to drive the demonic flame death curse away, he immediately sent a voice transmission to the celestial crocodile. The celestial crocodile laughed. "Ha! Then I'll congratulate you in advance for successfully removing the demonic flame death curse." He was really happy because Night Sorrow had promised to return his freedom after removing the demonic flame death curse. I hope those people behind us won't come and cause trouble. Night Sorrow, who had calmed down, continued to send a voice transmission. Sir, I don't think they will seek trouble by entering the solar flame to deal with us. The most likely thing is that they will wait outside. The celestial crocodile thought for a moment and analyzed. He knew that even a half-step fourth stage Supreme Realm would find it very difficult to enter the flames in front of them. It would be very dangerous to fight. Therefore, no one would come in and perish together with them. I hope so. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he became silent and persevered in the flames. 2 days passed like this. He could even feel the demonic flame death curse weakening. His mood instantly improved. As time went by, the time they spent in the sunflames was getting closer and closer to 3 days and 3 nights. When there were 6 hours left, the giant celestial crocodile was completely relaxed. Jinghai, Bai Wuji, and the other two wanted Night Sorrow to open some kind of treasure. Naturally, they would not attack him. He congratulated in advance. Congratulations, sir, for successfully dispelling the devil flame death curse. I didn't expect your talent to be so outstanding that you could persist in the flames for so long. It's not over yet. Don't celebrate too early. Night Sorrow, who was still persevering, said calmly. At this moment, although it wasn't too difficult for him to persist, he had a bad premonition in his heart. Another 4 hours passed as his mood fluctuated. At this time, Night Sorrow could already feel that the demonic flame death curse was about to die. Only then did he relax a little and prepare himself for the arrival of the second stage of the half-step paramount realm. However, right at this moment, he suddenly felt a strong sense of danger. He suddenly became alert and sent a voice transmission to the giant celestial crocodile. If a battle breaks out, do you have the ability to attack in the sun flames? Sir, do you mean that those people are going to attack us? The giant celestial crocodile immediately asked in confusion. I'm not sure if it's them, but I can already feel that danger is coming. Night Sorrow replied immediately. At this moment, the giant celestial crocodile said, If I go out, I should only be able to persist for 10 to 20 breaths and use a unique skill. Alright. If I need you to attack, don't hesitate. Just use your last move to deal with me. Night Sorrow said and released his soul power to search for the source of danger in the sunflames. With this search, he immediately discovered that there was a huge fire demon on the planet he was on. This fire demon's cultivation was at the 4th stage of the half-step supreme realm. However, its aura was obviously stronger than the giant celestial crocodiles. Moreover, they were in the sunflames. It would definitely have an advantage in battle. Since you've discovered me, then accept your fate of being devoured. Originally, the fire demon was prepared to attack Night Sorrow before the 3 days and nights arrived. Sensing Night Sorrow's soul power, it immediately spat out a large amount of flame essence at him. Once this essence appeared, the surrounding flames instantly became even more intense. You want to devour me? I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Night Sorrow, who was in the flames, had basically adapted to the heat after 2 to 3 days of tempering. When the fire demon spat out the flame essence, he used the heaven inverse roaming dragon art to dodge. He dodged the scorching flames in front of him. Then, he took out the golden heavenly halberd and desolation war halberd, and shot out the ice fire motherchild spear at the fire demon. After the ice fire motherchild spear was shot out, he used the divine essence trap array and the defense seal. Because the virtue power in his body was suppressing the devil flame death curse, he did not use the virtue trap array. If an ordinary ice attribute attack was used in the sunflames, it would definitely be incinerated. However, Night Sorrow's ice fire motherchild spear was not affected by the flames at all. It went straight for the core of the fire demon. The Night Devil's control of the power of ice and fire is indeed terrifying. Morong Xiao, who was watching the battle from afar, immediately praised when she saw Night Sorrow use such a powerful ice and fire attack. It was obvious that she agreed with Nan Gongha's words. As for Bai Wuji, he continued to say indifferently, he only has some ability in these 2 types of attacks. Look at him. When he fought the giant alligator and the fire demon, he always used the ice fire motherchild spear. At this moment, Jinghai smiled and asked, Senior Brother Bai, do you have the confidence to break the ice fire motherchild spear? Of course. If I meet him in a few days, all of you just have to help me. Watch how I blow him up. Bai Wuji said confidently as he watched the battle in front of him. Just as he finished speaking, Night Sorrow's attack suddenly bombarded the core of the fire demon. It was directly sent flying. Seeing that Night Sorrow had the advantage, Morong Xiao smiled and said, What do you think we should do if the Night Devil is no match for the fire demon? Should we rush into the sea of fire and rescue him? If the Night Devil is really no match for the fire demon, we really have to save him. After all, according to Dean Nan Gongha, only he can open the door to the treasure. This is really a little awkward. After all, we are mortal enemies, Jing Hai said with a fake smile. I think that although the Night Devil is not as strong as me, it shouldn't be a problem for him to deal with the fire demon. You don't have to worry, Bai Wuji, who was watching the battle, said with certainty. Although he looked down on Night Sorrow's cultivation and combat strength, he judged that Night Sorrow could win. Chapter 34:18. In fact, Night Sorrow's current strength was about the same as the fiery demon that he was fighting. However, he still had the Eternal Divine Tower and the Giant Crocodile as his trump cards. Therefore, he was very confident during the battle. In almost every round of confrontation, he dared to use his life on the line. Under his sharp attacks, the fiery demon's attack and defense were quickly reduced by more than half. The fiery demon was naturally unwilling to be suppressed. Therefore, it ignited the core of the flame and connected with the star to summon some of the earth core fire. The strength of this flame was much stronger than the fiery demon's own flame, and the flame that Night Sorrow controlled. After summoning it, the fiery demon immediately controlled the flame and burned it towards Night Sorrow. It wanted to destroy him in one blow. Frost power. Facing the earth core fire's attack, Night Sorrow immediately used the frost power that he had obtained from the Ice Saint King. However, the moment the frost power was released, it was melted by the scorching flame. Seeing that the situation was not good, Night Sorrow immediately ignited his Phoenix bloodline, Scale bloodline and Leaken bloodline. He raised his aura to the strongest. Then he transmitted his voice to Little Fool. Get ready to attack. The fiery demon summoned the earth core fire. With my own strength, it shouldn't be easy to kill it. Okay. Do you want to use a normal attack or a lightning attack? Little Fool immediately asked. Things like sacred spirits are most afraid of lightning tribulations. Just use lightning tribulations. However, you only need to use half of it. After Night Sorrow transmitted his voice, he used the attack and defense techniques to strengthen himself. Then he attacked the earth core fire again. This time, he used the divine essence trapping array, wanting to use it to stop the spread of the earth core fire. However, the earth core fire in front of him should be at the level of half step to supreme realm. The divine essence trap array was instantly destroyed. Haha. Stop struggling. You will definitely die today. Seeing that Night Sorrow was unable to do anything to the earth core fire, the fiery demon immediately laughed arrogantly. Then, it used an ultimate skill to push the earth core fire towards Night Sorrow. The scorching flames covered the sky and the earth, and the heat was very frightening. Even though Night Sorrow's body was very strong, Night Sorrow still had a hard time dealing with it. Under such circumstances, he recalled what he had said in his life and immediately thought of a move. Facing the flames in the sky, he unleashed the Azure Sea Tide. After the Azure Sea Tide was used, a 10,000 zhong high tide immediately appeared in the void and fiercely slammed towards the earth flame. Moreover, these waves were mixed with the power of ice. Although they weren't able to extinguish the earth core fire directly due to their grade, they were still able to defend against it. At this time, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little Fool. The time is almost here. Wait for the Flame Devil to charge up its next attack, then strike with the Lightning Tribulation. He won't be able to react in time. After sending a voice transmission to Little Fool, he said to the giant celestial crocodile, "In a while Little Fool will use the lightning tribulation to severely injure the fire devil. After that, I will let you out. You should know what to do." "Don't worry, my lord. I will seize the opportunity." When the giant celestial crocodile heard the voice transmission, it promised confidently. Actually, it was clear that the mission that Night Sorrow gave should be to beat the dog while it was down. The difficulty shouldn't be great. Very good. Night Sorrow responded and continued to resist the fire devil and the earth flame. Although the Azure Sea Tide restrained the earth flame in terms of attributes, it was helpless that its grade was not good. He needed to use it continuously. It consumed large amounts of divine essence energy. Seeing Night Sorrow continuously unleashing the Azure Sea Tide, the divine essence energy consumption was astonishing. The fire devil was immediately delighted. At this time, it, who did not feel any pressure, suddenly started to charge up its strongest ultimate skill. Shadow of the Fire Devil. After charging up for roughly 10 breaths, it finally unleashed this move. Little Fool attack. The Fire Devil's attack was charged up for so long, Night Sorrow could naturally determine it. After the Fire Devil attacked, he immediately transmitted his voice to Little Fool. Alright. At the same time, Little Fool controlled the Eternal Divine Tower, and suddenly blasted out the lightning tribulation that Green Beard attracted at the Fire Devil's enormous body. Not good. What is this? Only after the lightning tribulation got close did the Fire Devil, who executed the ultimate skill, react. After discovering that it was the lightning tribulation, it immediately resisted in a fluster. But a half-step extreme realm lightning tribulation was absolutely not easy to deal with to it. Although there was no danger of being blasted to death, it was very hard to finish it off. Seeing the Fire Devil being held back by the lightning tribulation, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to the giant starry sky crocodile. Attack. Victory or defeat depends on you. Yes, Your Excellency. The giant starry sky crocodile could see the Fire Devil's situation in space. Towards same-rank opponents without any resistance ability, he was still very confident in dealing with them. After being summoned out by Night Sorrow, the giant starry sky crocodile's body immediately enlarged. After expanding to a certain extent, it swallowed the Fire Devil in one gulp. Being swallowed by the giant starry sky crocodile, the Fire Devil immediately released all kinds of flames in its body. For a moment, the giant starry sky crocodile roared very manically in the sea of fire. At this time, Night Sorrow, who was resisting the giant starry sky crocodile's ultimate skill, transmitted his voice to Little Fool. Good opportunity, recall the giant starry sky crocodile. I understand. When Little Fool heard the voice transmission, he immediately made the giant starry sky crocodile give up resisting and recall him, and the Fire Devil. After that, he separated them again. After the Fire Devil was recalled into the Eternal Divine Tower, although it understood that its advantage was lost, it still spat out flames crazily to carry out attacks. It was just that, entering a world controlled by others, what effect could its attacks have? It was simply a futile struggle. After Little Fool finished explaining the situation to Night Sorrow transmitted his voice. Recall the Fire Devil well first. Later, wait for me to completely destroy the Fiend Flame Death Curse. Then we'll discuss how to deal with it. This Fire Devil was a sacred spirit born and bred in the Sea of Sunday. Furthermore, its strength was not bad, and could even utilize the power of the Earthcore fire. Night Sorrow had the intention of subduing it. However, for now, he still sat quietly in the flames with peace of mind, waiting for the arrival of 3 days and 3 nights. Just as the remaining 30 breaths of the 3 days and 3 nights were about to arrive, the Fiend Flame Death Curse suddenly erupted completely in Night Sorrow's body, seemingly wanting to corrode all of his blood. However, Night Sorrow, who had long been prepared, naturally would not let it succeed. Controlling the power of virtue, he purified all of the Fiend Flame Death Curse that had appeared. After a few breaths of time, he felt that the Fiend Flame Death Curse in his body had completely quieted down. Night Sorrow smiled and said, "Finally, it's been resolved." Just as he finished speaking, the energy that had been suppressed in his body began to wreak havoc crazily. Are you going to advance to rank 2? Seeing the changes in Night Sorrow's body, the giant starry sky crocodile immediately asked doubtfully. After Night Sorrow had dispelled the Fiend Flame Death Curse, he had immediately removed the title of Lord. Hearing this, Night Sorrow smiled and said, "Yes, I'm about to advance. However, we have to change places. It's too difficult to undergo the tribulation here." Chapter 34:19. After that, Night Sorrow brought the Eternal Divine Tower and the giant crocodile out of the star and into the void above the ordinary area. They were waiting for Night Sorrow to come and pick them up. At this moment, Jinghai, Bai Wuji, and Murong Xiu were certain that if Night Sorrow chose to leave after passing the lightning tribulation, they would attack and capture Night Sorrow and the giant crocodile. They would lead them to open the treasure. It's coming. The lightning tribulation is coming. Night Sorrow, who had sensed the 3 people behind him, distanced himself from them. In the void, he waited quietly for the arrival of the lightning tribulation. At this moment, His strength had increased tremendously as he had accumulated a lot of strength. He had just advanced to stage 2 of the half-step to Supreme Realm, and had yet to receive the lightning tribulation. However, he felt as if he had truly advanced to stage 2. His strength had increased qualitatively. Moreover, due to the tempering in the solar flame, his control over the fire element had increased significantly. Although it was not as strong as the earth core fire, it was not far off. Just as Jing Hai and the other two were watching, Night Sorrow welcomed his lightning tribulation. Unlike ordinary tribulation transcendence, Night Sorrow's tribulation transcendence was directly beneath the tribulation clouds. While resisting the tribulation lightning, it was also tempering the strength of his body. His half-step to Supreme Realm lightning tribulation did not exist in the form of a lightning tribulation energy body. He was truly welcoming the baptism of the terrifying lightning tribulation. Amidst the terrifying lightning tribulation, Night Sorrow took the opportunity to activate the Sea Serpent's Eye and looked in the direction of Jing Hai and the others. When he saw that it was Jing Hai and the other two cultivators, he immediately knew that they were coming for him. As he was undergoing the lightning tribulation, he secretly set up the 5 bulls formation in the void. As Jing Hai and the other two did not have eye techniques and were too far away, they could not see Night Sorrow's formation clearly. At this moment, the giant crocodile asked in the void, "Are you going to fight the 3 people behind you?" According to him, his cooperation with Night Sorrow had ended, and he did not want to help. "Don't worry. This is my own matter, and I will not drag you into it." Night Sorrow knew what the giant crocodile meant, and continued to undergo the lightning tribulation. Finally, he successfully passed the lightning tribulation. After the lightning tribulation, he immediately received the heavenly energy. After absorbing the energy, Night Sorrow immediately felt comfortable. At this time, he used the clam dragon's eye to look in the direction of Jing Hai and the others and said, "It's been hard enough to follow them all the way. Come out for some air. You're quite alert. But we're also." After being discovered, Bai Wuji was the first to step forward. After saying that, he turned to the other two and said, "I'll take him down in a moment. You two, take the crocodile." "You." Hearing this, Jing Hai nodded indifferently. Said Night Sorrow, Up. Up, S2. You. Up to himself too. The crushing defeat last time dealt a huge blow to his self-confidence. Now that he had met his enemy, he was naturally displeased. Actually, if you guys had attacked earlier, you might have had a chance to win. But now you can only be tortured." Night Sorrow looked at Night Sorrow and the others and laughed disdainfully. Now that he had advanced to the 2nd stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, his strength had increased by a lot. "You're not strong, but you talk big. See how I'll torture you." Without waiting for Night Sorrow to speak again, Bai Wuji flew into the air and flew towards Night Sorrow. "I'll defeat you in 10 breaths. Night Sorrow sneered when he saw Bai Wuji, who was a 4th stage half-step Supreme Realm, flying towards him. Bai Wuji did not notice the 5 bulls formation. He was courting death by flying over. Bai Wuji laughed sinisterly. "I'll say the same to you. I'll defeat you in 10 breaths. Morong Xiu reminded him. "Senior brother Bai, be careful not to kill him." "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing." Bai Wuji, who was completely enraged, said confidently. He took out a long hook and slashed at Night Sorrow. He wanted to use a melee attack to take down Night Sorrow instantly. Seeing Bai Wuji's performance, Little Fool was speechless. This Bai Wuji is really sending himself to death. Charging into the 5 bulls formation to fight. Even if the 3 of them come in at the same time, you can finish the battle quickly. "That's right." Night Sorrow replied to Little Fool. Just as Bai Wuji entered the 5 bulls formation, he activated the formation. After the formation was activated, it immediately launched a terrifying soul attack on Bai Wuji. Bai Wuji, who wanted to use his long hook to attack Night Sorrow, was immediately frightened by such a powerful soul attack. He cursed in his heart. At the same time he roared, "Despicable and shameless! You actually set up a formation while transcending the tribulation. Do you think you can defeat me like this? Impossible." Then he took out a green bead from his space. After being taken out, the bead bloomed with a green light. Everywhere the light passed, everything became peaceful. It no longer had any attack power. What kind of secret treasure is this? Seeing Bai Wuji's artifact, Yishang asked doubtfully. Little Fool and Giant Alligator did not know, so they did not answer. At this time, Night Sorrow directly activated all his skills and ignited his bloodline. Before Bai Wuji had fully recovered, he shot out the Ice-Fire Motherchild Spear at him. And together with the Divine Essence Trapping Array and Virtuous Trapping Array, as well as the Defense Seal, Bai Wuji was tightly bound to the ground. Wang. After Night Sorrow's strength had increased, the strength of his attacks had also become different. The Ice-Fire Motherchild Spear that Bai Wuji had looked down on previously was extremely powerful. The power of the attack was so great that it pierced through Bai Wuji's chest. And that powerful ice and fire attribute caused half of his body to be frozen, while the other half burned. It looked very miserable. Then Night Sorrow did not give Bai Wuji a chance to react. He pierced his dantian and directly crippled him. He did not give him a chance to turn the situation around. What? Senior brother Bai was actually killed by him so quickly? How did this night demon's strength increase so much? Morong Xiao was dumbfounded when she saw how easily Night Sorrow had dealt with Bai Wuji. Although she did not like Bai Wuji's arrogance, the teeth were interdependent. Now Bai Wuji had been crippled so easily. She suddenly felt a faint pain in her dantian. Senior sister Morong, don't panic. Although his strength has increased, he still can't cause any trouble. Jing Hai said calmly. Then he summoned the 10 new warriors from the space. This time, the 10 battle generals were all at the 3rd stage of the Supreme Realm. Seeing Jing Hai summon the 10 battle generals, Night Sorrow's Giant Alligator suddenly said, I want to leave. Is it convenient? Chapter 34:20. Although Jing Hai had summoned 10 generals, all of them were at half-step to Supreme Realm. Including him and Morong Xiao, there were a total of 12. This scared the giant crocodile to death, and it immediately wanted to escape. Hearing this, Yishang put Bai Wuji into the space, then let him out and said, "You can go now. Thank you for helping me remove the demonic flame death curse." He did not go against their agreement. The giant celestial alligator was momentarily stunned to see Yishan release it so readily. It was slightly surprised. After thinking for a while, he took out a pearl and handed it to Night Sorrow. "My lord, I admire your courage. This is the tear of the giant crocodile king. It can create illusions. If you can't defeat them, you can use it to trap them temporarily." "Okay. Thank you." Night Sorrow took the giant crocodile king's tear and thanked it. "Leave from behind me. When we start fighting, you can go around them and leave the Sea of Sun." "Goodbye, my lord." The giant crocodile said respectfully and left Night Sorrow's side. It did not want to get into trouble. The situation suddenly changed. Night Sorrow was facing 12 half-step to Supreme Realm experts alone. Among these 12 people, 1 was at half-step to Supreme Realm, and 11 were at half-step to Supreme Realm. Every one of them had a higher cultivation than Night Sorrow. Ha ha ha. This crocodile knows what's good for him. Seeing that the giant crocodile had chosen to leave, Jing Hai laughed arrogantly. He looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Are you going to surrender yourself, or are you waiting for us to make a move? What courage do you have for a loser?" Facing 13 experts, Yishang's expression didn't change at all. There was no sense of panic in him. This made Jing Hai a little angry. In his opinion, not only did he have to defeat Night Sorrow, but he also had to defeat him. He had to destroy his confidence to vent his anger. Glaring at Yishang, Jing Hai exhaled and ordered, "Go capture him alive." Yes. When Jing Hai gave the order, the 10 generals under his command immediately moved and surrounded Night Sorrow. At that moment, Jing Hai looked at Morong Xiao and said politely, "Senior sister Morong, shall we join in as well?" "Good. This night demon is not easy to deal with. We really can't be careless." Originally, Morong Xiao also looked down on Night Sorrow. But after Bai Wuji was taken down, her view completely changed. Then, she and Jing Hai took out their divine artifacts and attacked Night Sorrow. Faced with so many opponents, Little Fool, who was controlling the Tower of Eternity, asked with uncertainty, "Night Sorrow, can we really defeat so many people?" "I'm not sure, but it should be close." Knight Sorrow replied and raised his status to its peak. After leaving the Five Bulls array, in the battle just now, the Five Bulls array had nearly been destroyed by Bai Wuji's artifact, so there was no point in remaining inside. Facing the 10 generals who were almost side by side, they rushed over. Knight Sorrow held the golden heavenly halberd and the desolation war halberd in his hands, and suddenly attacked them with the fiery demon subduing spear. Scorching flames filled the sky. These flames had just been strengthened, and their grade was basically at the 4th stage of the half-step supreme realm. After it was used, it immediately posed a threat to many of the 3rd stage half-step supreme realm warriors. At that moment, Morongxiu suddenly sped up and flew to the front of the team, saying, "I'll stop these flames. Don't worry and attack." After saying that, he unleashed an ultimate technique into the void. Heavenly River Descent. A long river was drawn out from the void, and rushed toward the flames that Knight Sorrow had shot out. Under her attack, Knight Sorrow's fiery demon subduing spear was instantly broken. This female cultivator is not simple. Her strength is stronger than the male cultivator we captured. As soon as Morongxiu attacked, Knight Sorrow determined that she was stronger than Bai Wuji, and immediately paid attention to her. At that moment, Jinghai led the 10 generals, and continued to close the distance between them and Knight Sorrow. Their idea was to surround Knight Sorrow to prevent him from escaping. Knight Sorrow naturally had a response to this. Under their attack he kept retreating. At the same time, he had been preparing to attack one of the opponents. After he sped up, the people on Jinghai's side gradually widened the distance between them, and were no longer so uniform. As for Morongxiu, who had just used an ultimate skill, she was the furthest away. At that moment, Knight Sorrow transmitted his voice. "Xiao Wu, interrogate the male cultivator we captured. Xiao Air, prepare to strike out the remaining lightning tribulations. In front of us are all 3rd stage half-step supreme realm cultivators. The 4th stage lightning tribulations should be very useful." "Okay. I've already prepared. And I've even prepared a 4th stage attack. This attack is absorbed from the fiery demon. It's a terrifying flame attack." After Xiao Wu answered and began to interrogate Bai Wuji, Xiao Er said excitedly. In a short period of time, the Eternal Divine Tower had already absorbed the first attack from the fiery demon. The speed was very fast. However, they had not completely tamed the fiery demon, and made it fight for Knight Sorrow. Very good. A lightning tribulations and a flame attack is enough to completely disrupt their formation. Knight Sorrow glanced at the people behind him who were chasing and attacking him at the same time. After making a judgment, he turned around again, and roared out a soul-devouring dragon roar. He used a wide-range soul attack to attack Jinghai and the others behind him. "Humph. You overestimate yourself." Seeing that Knight Sorrow had stopped and was about to launch a soul attack, Jinghai immediately took out a green lotus robe and released it in the air. It blocked all of Knight Sorrow's attacks. Jinghai then said, "Don't be afraid. I've already destroyed his soul attack." "Jinghai, it seems like you've obtained a new treasure." Seeing that Jinghai had taken out a green lotus robe, Knight Sorrow said and ordered, "Xiao Air attack." While Xiao Air released the lightning tribulations and flame attacks, he held the golden heavenly halberd and desolation battle halberd, and prepared the frostfire motherchild spear. "Okay," Little Fool replied. Then he attacked Jinghai and the 10 generals with lightning tribulation attacks and fire tribulation attacks. The grades of these 2 attacks were both at half-step supreme stage level 4. Furthermore, they were both large-scale attacks. They were very difficult to dodge. In an instant, the 10 war generals under Jinghai's command all hid in a panic. Compared to the 10 war generals, Jinghai's situation was obviously better. After all, he had the green lotus robe to protect him. When the 10 war generals were forced to scatter, Knight Sorrow immediately used the frostfire motherchild spear that he had prepared. It was aimed at one of the war generals. This war general was currently dodging the flame and lightning tribulations, and did not notice Knight Sorrow at all. He was instantly killed by this move. After that, Knight Sorrow immediately attacked another war general with the golden heavenly halberd and desolation battle halberd. Chapter 34-21. Night Devil, how dare you? Seeing that Night Sorrow was still able to instantly kill one of his warlords despite being besieged from all sides, Hai was shocked. He then attacked the other warlord. Hai was instantly enraged. With a roar, he took out a short sword that he had just obtained from Nangong and slashed at Yishan with an ultimate technique. This short sword was at the 4th grade of the half-step paramount realm, and after he used it, he was shocked. When it was unleashed, it streaked across the sky like a rainbow. Divine Origin Trapping Array. Night Sorrow, who was preparing to kill the other warlord, used the Divine Origin Trapping Array to counter Hai's ultimate technique. This move was only able to block Hai's ultimate technique for less than a second. However, this was enough for Night Sorrow. In that instant, he directly killed the warlord in front of him. After advancing to the 2nd stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, his full-powered attack was already an attack that an ordinary 3rd stage half-step Supreme Realm expert could not withstand. I'll deal with him. You guys support me. Don't fight him head-on. Murong Xiao, who had already caught up, saw Night Sorrow easily kill 2 of the warlords. Furthermore, he had used the Lightning Tribulation and Flames to kill 2 of them. She judged that apart from herself and Haiqing, who was wearing the green lotus robe, no one else could block Night Sorrow's attack. Therefore, before Night Sorrow could continue to attack, she flew in front of him and started fighting. With Murong Xiao and Haiqing's help, it was no longer easy for Night Sorrow to attack the remaining 6 warlords. However, after fighting with them, Night Sorrow found that it was much easier for him to face Haiqing. If it weren't for the green lotus robe that Nangongha had given him, he might have died in just a few moves. As Murong Xiao fought with Night Sorrow, she became more and more alarmed. As the battle progressed, she suddenly realized that after Night Sorrow fully activated his state, apart from her, everyone else's attacks were basically no threat to Night Sorrow. Either their attacks were not powerful enough to break through his defense, or their attacks were not fast enough to be easily dodged. Even Haiqing's attacks could only play a role in restraining Night Sorrow. He could not pose much of a threat to him. This made Murong Xiao feel a little disappointed. She realized that she had underestimated Night Sorrow. At this moment, his combat power was close to the 5th stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. After thinking for a moment, Murong Xiao sent a voice transmission to Haiqing. Do you have any other secret treasures? This night demon is truly difficult to deal with. His strength is even above yours and mine. If he goes all out, he is extremely difficult to deal with. We have to think of a way. I still have a boundless heaven shaking bell with me. Wait for me to find an opportunity to use it to attack his soul. Then, we will swarm him and take him down. Before the battle, he had never imagined that Yishang's strength would rise so quickly. Haiqing's left him far behind. While he was annoyed, he also had killing. However, the purpose of their trip was to obtain the treasure mentioned by Nangonghe. Naturally, they could not kill him. Alright. I also have a secret treasure here. After 10 breaths, we'll use it together. Murong Xiao sent a telepathic message to Yishang. Then, she used another technique. Compared to the other war generals, her attack was still a threat to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, who was fighting with the others, had also realized this. During the battle, he also began to pay attention to Murong Xiao and Haiqing. Relatively speaking, he had the leak in bloodline, so his divine core power recovered very quickly. He was not afraid of consumption. Although the remaining 6 war generals were all at the 3rd stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, their attacks were not much of a threat to him. He just needed to use all his strength to dodge and consume some divine core power. This kind of consumption could be automatically recovered by the leak in bloodline. The ultimate threat was still Murong Xiao and Haiqing. Therefore, he wanted to find an opportunity to kill either Murong Xiao or Haiqing first. At this moment, Little Five, who was in the Eternal Divine Tower, suddenly sent a voice transmission. Night Sorrow. The fiery demon has surrendered. The fiery demon has surrendered? Very good. Ask him if he can lend me some earth core fire? Night Sorrow immediately asked when he heard the voice transmission. He knew that the earth core fire was a true 5th stage half-step Supreme Realm. It was a great threat to the many cultivators in front of him. After a breath, Little Five replied, Yes, but he can't use much of it here unless you lure everyone into the sun flame. I shouldn't be able to lure all of them in because the 6 war generals don't have the strength to enter, Knight Sorrow judged. Then let him lend you some, Little Five said, and began to command the fiery demon to lend some of its flames to Knight Sorrow. At the same time he asked, do you need the fiery demon to appear and fight with you? Not at the moment. I alone am enough to deal with them, Knight Sorrow replied confidently. During the battle, he had completely recognized his true strength. Facing Morong Xiu and Hai Qing, he did not feel much pressure. They were stronger than he had estimated before he started fighting. Okay. We'll be ready at any time, Little Five said again, and did not say anything else. At this time, Knight Sorrow had absorbed the earth core fire of the fiery demon into his body. Because the earth core fire was in a controlled state, it did not cause any harm to Knight Sorrow. Even Knight Sorrow, who had absorbed it, felt a sense of comfort. If there was a chance, he should find a way to absorb some of the earth core fire here. Not only could it increase the level of his flames, but it could also be one of his trump cards. Hai Qing, get ready to attack. Just as Knight Sorrow absorbed the earth core fire, Morong Xiu sent a voice transmission to Hai Qing. Okay. Attack immediately. The rest of you cooperate with me and senior sister Morong. Hai Qing replied and took out the Boundless Heaven Shaking Bell to activate it. After the Boundless Heaven Shaking Bell was activated, it immediately released huge ripples in the void. Knight Sorrow, who was attacked by these ripples, suddenly felt his divine soul tremble. It was very uncomfortable. At this time, Morong Xiu took out 18 star stones. After activating them, she threw them at Knight Sorrow. After these star stones were thrown out, they immediately bloomed into 18 streams of light in the void. Each of the 18 streams of light was an attack from a half-step to the Supreme Realm Level 5. When Knight Sorrow was attacked by the Boundless Heaven Shaking Bell, it was indeed very threatening. In a situation where he could not avoid the 18 streams of light, Knight Sorrow recovered his mind and directly released the Earth Core Fire. Once the Earth Core Fire was released, the 18 streams of light released by Morong Xiu were quickly burned to ashes. As for the impact of Hai Qing's Boundless Heaven Shaking Bell, Knight Sorrow forcibly withstood it. It did not cause much damage to his divine soul. The Boundless Heaven Shaking Bell only made him lose his mind for a moment. How is that possible? Could it be that his divine soul has reached the level 5 level? Seeing that the Boundless Heaven Shaking Bell had no effect on Knight Sorrow, Hai Qing was immediately surprised. Morong Xiu's expression became even worse. Chapter 34-22. Although Morong Xiu already had a higher opinion of Yi Shang since the battle had begun, she had never imagined that he would be able to break her trump card so easily. An ominous premonition suddenly flashed through her heart. Furthermore, they were extremely fearful of the Earth Core Fire that Yi Shang had summoned. She sent a telepathic message to Jing Hai. If you can't take out your trump card, I'm afraid we will lose today. I don't have anything to take out, Jing Hai replied unhappily. It's all by Wuji's fault. If he hadn't acted on his own, we would have taken him down easily. What's the use of saying this now? Morong Xiu said, and immediately chose to turn around and flee. She did not hesitate at all. You. Seeing that Morong Xiu had chosen to escape, Jing Hai shouted and stopped. At this time, Knight Sorrow, who was controlling the earth flame, had started to attack Jing Hai. Although Jing Hai had the green lotus robe to protect him, he could not ignore the earth flame's attack. While he was dodging, he ordered the remaining warlords to come and help him. However, with Morong Xiu's desertion, these people could no longer pose any threat to her. Soon they were killed one by Knight Sorrow. Jing Hai was the only one left. He knelt in the void and shouted, "Don't kill me. I can tell you a secret." You want to tell me the secret of the treasure? Knight Sorrow asked with a cold smile. Little Five had already asked Bai Wuji about this matter. Bai Wuji was very arrogant, but after he was captured, he behaved like Jing Hai. Soon he revealed the purpose of this trip. Hearing this, Jing Hai's face changed again. He knew that it was useless for him to say this again. He immediately sent a telepathic message. I have a special relationship with Dean Nangong He. If I remember correctly, you called her aunt. Are you her nephew? Knight Sorrow asked with a frown. He had no intention of chasing after Murong Xiao. Upon hearing this, Jinghai continued with an embarrassed expression. We are actually lovers. If you don't kill me, you'll definitely be able to exchange something good from her. In order to survive, he revealed the secret relationship between him and Nan Gonghe. What? Are you sure? Upon hearing this, Knight Sorrow felt as if his worldview had been shattered. However, to him who had a grudge against Nan Gonghe, these words were of some value. He immediately put away the thought of killing Jinghai. Of course I'm sure. We've already tasted the joy of intimacy. Otherwise, why would she provide me with the 10 great battle generals again and again? And a secret treasure like the azure lotus robe? Jinghai said matter-of-factly. All right, hand over the green lotus robe, and I can spare your life. Knight Sorrow didn't have the habit of getting to the bottom of things, so he spoke with a murderous tone. Good. I'll pay. As long as you don't kill me, I'll do anything. Jinghai must have thought about this a long time ago, as he handed over the azure lotus robe without hesitation. At this moment he had even given up on the thought of escaping, because he knew how terrifying Knight Sorrow's speed was. Let me ask you something. After that, Knight Sorrow kept Jinghai in the Eternal Divine Tower, separating him from Baiwuji. Then he asked about the treasure. After asking this question, he realized that Jinghai and Baiwuji had said similar things, and he was sure that the two of them weren't lying. He immediately flew toward the location they had mentioned. Before long, he arrived at the entrance of the Sea of the Sun. This entrance looked like a sea of fire, and the temperature was even more terrifying than ordinary sun flames. After opening the sea serpent's eye to observe, Knight Sorrow discovered that behind the sea of fire was an ice wall. He roughly understood what Nan Gonghe meant. She felt that only those who could control the power of ice and fire could enter. Nan Gonghe and Jinghai are lovers, so she shouldn't be lying to him. However, she didn't go in at all, so she shouldn't know what kind of treasure is inside. What she said might not be true. After standing in front of the entrance and pondering for a while, Knight Sorrow used the power of ice and the power of merit to envelop himself. He walked toward the sea of fire at the entrance. Just as he approached the sea of fire, he felt an incomparably terrifying heat wave. He felt as if he could melt at any time, and the protective layer of ice on his body was constantly fading in the flames. Even if he kept using the power of ice, it was the same. He could only increase his speed and continue to move forward. However, as he continued to go deeper, Knight Sorrow gradually felt that the surrounding flames began to become more intense. Gradually, he felt as if his skin and flesh were being torn apart. Knight Sorrow, you have to hold on. There are still a few breaths of time before we reach the ice defense. Seeing that Knight Sorrow's condition was getting worse and worse, Little Fool immediately reminded him anxiously. I can still hold on. As Knight Sorrow replied, he took out the Earth Core Fire. He let the Earth Core Fire bloom around his body. With the protection of the Earth Core Fire, the surrounding flames immediately retreated by a lot. However, the burning sensation was still there, and it was also very harmful to him. Under these circumstances, Knight Sorrow had already been burned to the point where he didn't even have a human shape after persisting until he reached the area between ice and fire. He was forced to rest in the middle area and rely on his Leaken bloodline to recover. After about 2 hours, Knight Sorrow had completely recovered. Seeing that Knight Sorrow had recovered so quickly, Jinghai and Baiwuji felt a sense of despair. Summon the fiery demon. After recovering, Knight Sorrow immediately asked Little Fool to summon the fiery demon. After it was summoned, Knight Sorrow looked at the fiery demon and said, This ice wall seems to be tens of thousands of feet thick. Try and see if you can break it. Yes, Master. The fiery demon that had already chosen to submit received the order, and immediately used the power of fire to attack the ice wall. Then every time it spat out flames, it could only make the ice wall become 20 to 30,000 feet thick. When the attack was over, the ice wall would automatically recover. Seeing this scene, Knight Sorrow frowned and said, It seems like this ice wall needs to be broken in one blow. Try using the Earth Core Fire. Yes, Master. After Knight Sorrow returned the Earth Core Fire to the fiery demon, the fiery demon immediately used the Earth Core Fire to attack the ice wall again. This time, Under the fiery demon's attack, the ice wall was broken 70,000 feet. The fiery demon said helplessly, "I'm sorry, master. I can't break the ice wall." "It's okay. Attack again." When Knight Sorrow heard this, he did not give up. Instead, he let the fiery demon attack again. Although the fiery demon did not understand the order, it still attacked the ice wall again. At this moment, Knight Sorrow also attacked the ice wall with his flames. Together with the fiery demon, they attacked the ice wall at the same time. Chapter 34-23. After Knight Sorrow and the fire demon attacked at the same time, the power of their attacks increased several times. It was completely different from when the fire demon attacked on its own. In an instant, the flames from the two of them melted the ice wall completely. It looked like they were destroying dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. "Let's hurry over before the ice wall recovers again." Unsure if the ice wall would recover in an instant, Knight Sorrow immediately flew towards the passage when it melted. The fire demon, who had heard the order, followed closely behind Knight Sorrow. Together, they successfully entered the mystic realm where the treasure was. The reality was just as Knight Sorrow thought. After they entered, the ice wall outside quickly recovered. Looking back at the recovered ice wall, Knight Sorrow calmed down and opened the sea serpent's eye to observe the mystic realm in front of him. There were a total of 9 suns in the mystic realm in front of him. These 9 suns were of different sizes, but they all emitted a scorching light. The roasting they brought at the same time made the ground burn faintly with flames. The roots of these flames were greenish-purple, and the location of the flames was blood-red. The color of the flames not only surprised Knight Sorrow, but also the fire demon. Even the Balrog said doubtfully, "These flames before us do seem a little strange. It's as if there's blood flowing in the flames. Otherwise, the color wouldn't be like this. I can also sense some abnormalities." As Knight Sorrow replied, he continued to observe the other sceneries in the mystic realm. In front of them was a suspended staircase that was 1,000 feet wide. The two ends of the staircase burned with strange flames. There were many blood-red trees and flowers growing in the flames. Their color was basically the same as the color of the flames. These plants were suspended in the void and grew by absorbing the aura of the flames. Knight Sorrow discovered that these flowers, plants, and trees all contained killing intent, giving off an extremely dangerous feeling. And this suspended staircase stretched as far as the eye could see. Even with the sea serpent's eye, Knight Sorrow could not see the end of it. At this moment he sent a voice transmission to Jinghai and Bai Wuji. "Since Nangongha asked you to come and fight for the treasure, she must have told you something, right? What to do after entering the mystic realm? Tell me how to find the treasure." "Vice Principal Nangong only told me how to enter the secret realm. She didn't tell me how to find the treasure." Bai Wuji replied helplessly. At that time, Nangongha had only given him a general idea, and did not mention the specific details at all. Hearing Bai Wuji say this, Knight Sorrow knew that Nangonghe must have told Clear Sea some details. Because she was so certain that there was an artifact here, she must have a certain understanding of it. As expected, after a while, Jinghai organized his thoughts and said, "I heard from my aunt that the information about the treasures in this mystic realm was given to her by Wuji Zun. It looked like a flame core. If he could find it, not only would he be able to use it to raise his cultivation, he would also be able to obtain extremely powerful flame energy. It's just that back then, she and Andrew didn't succeed in obtaining it." "Did she mention the exact location?" Knight Sorrow was very interested in the details that Jinghai mentioned, so he continued asking. "According to her, we've been following the stairs in the air. Once he reached the end, he would see the supreme treasure. Back then Wuji Zun encountered this supreme treasure, but he didn't take it away." Jinghai told him everything he knew. He was afraid that Knight Sorrow would get angry and kill him. Seeing Jinghai like this, Knight Sorrow knew that although Jinghai had the talent of the supreme realm, he did not have the mentality of a supreme realm. Even if he was not defeated by him, he would not be able to successfully advance in the future. After that, he did not continue to deal with him. He sent a voice transmission to Flame Demon and Little Fool. "You guys stay on guard with me. I'm going to step onto the suspended stairs. If I'm not wrong, these blood-red plants and flames might attack us. These shouldn't be much of a threat. I wonder what will happen if we continue to walk in. Flame Demon glanced at the plants in front of him and said disdainfully. After all, it was a holy spirit born from the sun flame. And it was at the 4th grade of the half-step supreme realm. As for the surrounding plants, they were basically creatures that had not reached the half-step supreme realm. At this time, Night Sorrow continued. Don't be careless. Let's go. Wait. Seeing that Night Sorrow was about to step onto the suspended stairs, Little Fool immediately said, Can you give me the secret treasure you got from Bai Wuji? If I absorb it, I can attack with the power of a 5th grade half-step supreme realm. Okay. Then you can take it. As for the green lotus robe I got from Jinghai, I still have some use for it, so I won't give it to you. Night Sorrow sent all the secret treasures he got from Bai Wuji into the Eternal Divine Tower. He then used the green phoenix armor to devour the green lotus robe. Just like that, the green phoenix armor's level was raised to the peak of the 4th grade half-step supreme realm. It was only 1 step away from the 5th grade. Night Sorrow naturally felt a little regretful that he did not upgrade the green phoenix armor after consuming a pure 5th grade green lotus robe, but he did not care. Then he led Flame Demon and the Eternal Divine Tower up the suspended stairs. Just as they stepped onto the suspended stairs, the blood-red plants on both sides started to grow crazily. When the grass grew to about the same height as Night Sorrow, and the trees almost broke through the sky, they suddenly attacked Night Sorrow. The attacks of these plants all carried flames. However, the grade was not high enough. Night Sorrow controlled the golden heavenly halberd with his left hand, and the Desolation war halberd with his right. 2 beams of light suddenly shot out and destroyed all of them. Then they continued to walk forward along the suspended stairs. Almost every time they walked 100,000 feet, the plants they encountered would increase by a grade. As Night Sorrow continued to move forward, soon he began to encounter the attacks of half-step supreme realm plants. Moreover, the plants on both sides of the suspended stairs began to become denser and denser, causing the attacks to become more concentrated. The attacks did not only contain flames. There were also some sharp leaves and hard fruits. These things looked very ordinary, but they were very difficult to deal with. Night Sorrow was slightly better. The Flame Demon in human form was completely flustered and no longer had the arrogance from before. At this moment, Little Fool asked, I've already prepared a half-step Supreme Realm 5th grade attack. Do you want to use it? Of course not. Your attack will be saved for the critical moment. While Night Sorrow was fighting against the plants in front of him, he had been walking along the suspended stairs. After rejecting Little Fool's suggestion, he activated the Treastrimsa Star Ruin's secret combat technique and destruction divine ability. He continuously attacked the plants on both sides. At this point, he had already begun to use his ultimate skills, and the road ahead still had no end in sight. Chapter 34-24. Night Sorrow. Isn't this path a little too difficult to walk? Little Fool said speechlessly as they continued forward, because at this moment, the surrounding vegetation's strength had already risen to half-step to 3rd grade Supreme Realm. With so many vegetation at this level attacking at the same time, the intensity of the flames was quite shocking. Although Night Sorrow could still bear it, the pressure was increasing. The fire demon's frantic situation was even more obvious. From time to time, it would be hit by the vegetation, looking a little pathetic. Looks like I have to increase my strength again. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow did not ignite his bloodline power. However, he began to use the power of ice and fire on his body. The effect of the power of fire was relatively ordinary, but the power of ice was obviously very effective against the vegetation in front of them. Many of the vegetation that attacked with their branches and leaves were frozen on the spot in an instant. There were even some roots that were floating in the air that were directly frozen. Night Sorrow said in surprise, It seems that the power of ice can erupt with power that surpasses the past here. According to his judgment, although the power of ice would be effective, it should not be as strong as it was now. Too strong. Looks like the half-step to 3rd grade Supreme Realm vegetation is no longer a threat to us. The fire demon said casually after Night Sorrow suppressed most of the third-grade half-step to third-grade Supreme Realm vegetation. In the battle just now, it had already suffered a lot of injuries, but now it was relaxed. We can't be careless. After all, we can't see the end of it. Night Sorrow looked up at the 9 suns in the sky, and continued forward with the fire demon. At this moment Little Fool, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, transmitted again. I've prepared a few more attacks from 4th grade half-step to 4th grade Supreme Realm. If you need them, let me know. Okay. Maybe we'll need them soon, Night Sorrow said after observing the surroundings. Then, he and the fire demon faced the attacks of 4th grade half-step to 4th grade Supreme Realm vegetation. Relatively speaking, the number of such vegetation was much less than 3rd grade half-step to 3rd grade Supreme Realm. There were about a few dozen on both sides. However, their attack power and the intensity of their flames had obviously increased, making it more difficult to deal with them. Facing the attacks of dozens of 4th grade half-step to 4th grade Supreme Realm vegetation. Not to mention the Balrog, even Night Sorrow would find it hard to endure. Although these plants were much weaker than cultivators of the same level, they were still very difficult to deal with when grouped together. He glanced at the flight of stairs in front of him, but there was still no end. At this moment, Night Sorrow began to mutter in his heart. He felt that it was not a good idea to keep walking and being attacked like this. However, he still burned his Phoenix bloodline and Jescale bloodline to raise his strength to another level. It temporarily blocked some of the vegetation in front of him. While he was resisting, he began to wonder if his thoughts were being restricted. Should I attack the power source of these plants, the 9 suns in the void? Night Sorrow told Little Fool and the Flame Devil about this idea. The Balrog immediately agreed. I feel that my lord's thoughts are very reasonable. As long as the energy source of these plants is cut off, they will not be able to do anything. Regardless of whether this is the case or not, we have to try our best. We can still fight against the 4th grade plants in front of us, but if we take a few more steps and they are all 5th grade half-step to the Supreme Realm, it will be difficult for us to deal with them. As he spoke, Night Sorrow, who was fighting against the 4th grade half-step to the Supreme Realm vegetation, suddenly soared into the sky with the Flame Devil. He shot the Icefire Motherchild Spear at one of the suns in the void. Whoosh! Just as Night Sorrow shot the Icefire Motherchild Spear, the 9 suns launched a flame attack at Night Sorrow at the same time. Night Sorrow focused his gaze and realized that there were Flame Devils in all 9 suns. Furthermore, there were 9 5th grade half-step to the Supreme Realm Flame Devils. The Icefire Motherchild Spear he shot out was also devoured by these flames very quickly. 9 5th grade half-step to the Supreme Realm Flame Devils. How are we going to deal with them? Seeing that there were 9 such existences in the void, the Flame Devil that rose into the void with Night Sorrow was dumbfounded. As for the vegetation below them, it was constantly growing and attacking them. At that moment, Night Sorrow shouted, Flame Devil, try your best to deal with the vegetation below. I will deal with the 9 Flame Devils in the void. Alright. Although the Flame Devil wanted to say that the vegetation below was not easy to deal with, he immediately became obedient when he saw the 9 suns in the void. At that moment, Jinghai, who was in the grotto heaven, suddenly sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow. Lord Night Devil, your situation is not too optimistic. Why don't you let me out to fight? Now that I have more or less recovered, I can definitely provide more power than the Flame Devil. Alright. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow did not hesitate and directly let Jinghai out. He did not make him make any oath. This was because Jinghai was no longer a threat to him. Thank you, Lord Night Devil. It was Jinghai's fault for offending you in the past. Jinghai, who had been released, knew that he was no match for Night Sorrow, so he did not dare to have any other thoughts. After saying that, he peacefully dealt with the rising vegetation together with the Flame Devil. As for Night Sorrow, he brought the Eternal Divine Tower, and faced the 9 Flame Devils alone. And these 9 Flame Devils seemed to be unable to leave the sun they were in. Therefore, he could only attack them from afar. After realizing this, Night Sorrow immediately burned his Leaken bloodline, and used the attack and defense techniques to enhance himself. He raised his state to the strongest and flew toward one of the flame devils. He was prepared to use close combat to kill the flame devil in front of him instantly. As for the other 8 flame devils, it was obvious that they were unable to leave the surface of the sun. Just as Night Sorrow had thought. He watched as Night Sorrow attacked one of the flame demons and gained the upper hand. However, he could do nothing but worry. There was nothing he could do to help. He could only use fire attacks from afar. Under such circumstances, the flame devil, which was obviously weaker than Night Sorrow, was quickly killed. After Night Sorrow killed this flame devil, a portion of the vegetation that Jinghai and the flame devil were fighting withered and fell into the bottomless abyss. The amount was about 1/9 of it. In an instant, Night Sorrow understood that as long as he killed the remaining 8 flame devils, they should be able to completely solve the problem of the vegetation. He immediately flew toward the next sun. However, as Night Sorrow was flying, the flame devils launched fierce fire attacks one after another. Although these flames were not as terrifying as the Earth Core flame, they were still very strong. However, the Green Phoenix battle armor had just advanced to peak 4th grade half-step Supreme Realm. After activating it, it helped Night Sorrow block a large portion of the flames. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow completely released his divine domain and power of virtue, instantly blocking the flames. He successfully flew to the next sun. Chapter 34-25. Amazing! Seeing that Night Sorrow had dealt with a 5th grade half-step Supreme Realm Fire Demon, he flew up to another sun. The fire demon below, who was fighting the vegetation with Jinghai, immediately shouted. Jinghai's expression was a little awkward. This was because he realized that the distance between him and Yishan was widening. It was no longer realistic for him to catch up to Night Sorrow. This feeling made him feel a little hopeless. At this moment, Night Sorrow had killed another fire demon as expected. After Xiao Chen killed this flame demon, some of the vegetation in the area was completely destroyed. The pressure on the fire demon and Jinghai lessened even more. In addition, many of the vegetation had already given up on attacking the 2 of them, and chose to grow crazily, attacking Night Sorrow. However, the 2 of them were too far apart. Although they had grown to such a height, they could not explode with terrifying attack strength. The impact on Night Sorrow was minimal. Under such circumstances, Jinghai and the fire demon understood that they had basically flattened this mystic realm. The 9 fire demons looked terrifying, but they could not leave the sun they were in. The restriction on them was too great, and it was fatal. The 2 of you prepare to enter my space. They can't do anything to me, but they might attack you. At this moment, Night Sorrow, who had dealt with another fire demon, had already launched an attack on the next sun. He reminded the fire demon and Jinghai. Yes, sir. The fire demon, who had been fighting the vegetation with all his might, immediately waited for Night Sorrow's summons. Jinghai thought of many possibilities, but in the end he did not resist. In a situation where the vegetation had no effect on Night Sorrow, he finally chose to enter the space. Just as Night Sorrow kept them in his space grotto heaven, the sun in the sky happened to shoot down several 5th grade half-step Supreme Realm flames. The fire demon was still fine. Jinghai could not withstand flames of this level at all, and he immediately felt a lingering fear. He sent a voice transmission. Thank you, Lord Night Demon. Although he felt humiliated, he felt that it was fine as long as he survived. You're welcome. If I get an opportunity this time, I have to thank you. If you help me with something in the future, I will let you go completely. The enmity between us can be written off. Night Sorrow sent a voice transmission to Clear Sea as he continued to fight the flame fiend. Let me think about it. There was no need for Night Sorrow to say anything. Jinghai could already guess. Night Sorrow wanted to make a move on Nangonghe. His heart was struggling. This is really an interrogation of your humanity. Night Sorrow observed Jinghai's struggling expression and thought to himself. At the same time, he once again unleashed a lethal attack on the Balrog before him. He had successfully killed it. After killing several flame devils in a row, Night Sorrow completely realized that the problem of their safety had been successfully resolved. Then, without hesitation, he killed all the fire demons on the other suns as well. After all the flame fiends had been killed, The vegetation on both sides of the floating stairs had all fallen to the bottom of the valley. The 9 suns merged into one. After the 9 suns merged into one, the end of the suspended stairs immediately appeared. It's finally here. Recalling Jing Hai's words, Night Sorrow flew down from the merged suns. He followed the suspended stairs all the way to the end. Then he walked up to a stone pillar suspended in the air. This stone pillar was covered with all kinds of stone carvings, and it seemed to emit an ancient aura. A box was placed on top of an altar right above the stone pillar. The box was empty, and there was a round hole in its center. When Night Sorrow reached out and picked up the box, the sun that had just merged into one rapidly shrank and flew into the box. Is this the flame core? With the box in hand, Night Sorrow felt that this trip had been quite successful. After sensing it carefully, he stored the flame core into the space. This world had completely darkened. The suspended stairs also began to break apart one by one, continuously breaking apart and smashing into the abyss below. Not good, this world is completely ruined. We have to leave quickly. Realizing that something was wrong, Night Sorrow immediately flew to the passageway. He summoned the Flame Fiend and said, "Flame Fiend, let's work together again and open the passageway." "Yes, my lord." The Flame Fiend responded and attacked together with Night Sorrow. However, the attack that had allowed them to successfully enter this world had now lost its effect. Not even half of the ice wall had melted. How could this be? Seeing that he and Night Sorrow had not opened the ice wall even after working together, the Flame Fiend was astonished. At this moment Night Sorrow said, "Let's try again." However, after trying again, he and the Flame Fiend still did not open the ice wall. At this moment, Jing Hai, who was somewhat envious of Night Sorrow's flame core, reminded him, "Lord Night Devil, take out the flame core you obtained and absorb its power. Try again, and see if you can blast open the ice wall." Okay. In fact, Night Sorrow had also thought of this, but he had not had the time to try it. After Jing Hai finished speaking, he took out the flame core. At this moment, the flame core was no longer as seductive as before. It looked much softer. Night Sorrow absorbed a little, and felt that his flame attribute had increased by a lot. After absorbing for about 20 breaths, he felt that the flames he controlled had increased by a level. He immediately raised his hand and attacked, blasting open the ice wall. Then he left the mystic realm with the Flame Fiend. After successfully leaving the mystic realm, Night Sorrow did not choose to leave the Sea of Sunday. He kept the Flame Fiend in the space. He set up a concealment array on the spot. He continued to absorb the flame core's power. The flame attribute he controlled also rapidly increased. However, after absorbing it, Night Sorrow realized that he could not stop at all. He completely followed the rhythm of the flame core, constantly absorbing and fusing with it. It had lasted for 2,000 years, which was enough to drive him crazy. If I had known earlier, I would have finished absorbing the flame core in the eternal divine tower. 2,000 years later, Night Sorrow's cultivation had advanced to half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage. The flame attribute he controlled could even kill some half-step Supreme Realm 5th stage experts. However, he was somewhat regretful. At this moment, Jing Hai said, "Supremacy Limitless said that this flame core can only be absorbed in the Sea of Sunday. You did not do anything wrong. Besides, advancing a small realm in 2,000 years is already heaven-defying. What's there to regret?" "Is that so? That's good." Night Sorrow calmed down when he heard Jing Hai's words. Then he left the Sea of Sun with Jing Hai, the Flame Fiend, and the Eternal Divine Tower. He stepped on the road back. After not returning for 2,000 years, he was very worried about his friends in the Night Devil territory. Chapter 34-26. 1 second to remember love on /u reading /book wonderful. No pop-up window free reading. It's been 2,000 years. I wonder how my old friends are doing. Some of you should have broken through to the half-step Supreme Realm, right? On the way back, Night Sorrow couldn't help but ponder. In the years since he entered the foggy area, under the pressure of the 3 Supremes, he had been fighting and cultivating. He didn't even have time to see his family, let alone spend time with his friends. In his heart, he felt a little tired. Night Sorrow, what are you thinking about? Are you missing your wife far away? During the flight, Little Seven, who hadn't spoken for a long time, sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow. He saw a trace of fatigue on Night Sorrow's face. Yes, I miss my family and friends. But when I think of them, I think of the shadow brought by the three Supremes. In order to protect this world, I have to continue to improve my strength quickly. Night Sorrow sighed and continued. It won't be long before they come out to wreak havoc in the world. I have to quickly advance to the Supreme Realm. Then what are your plans for the next step? Little Seven continued to ask. Now he was the same as Little Two and didn't know what Night Sorrow's plans were. Of course, I'm going to snatch the Eternal Divine Tower and let you all shine with the glory of the Supreme Realm. Then, I should return to the Eternal Supreme Realm and wipe out all the invading foreign races. Let the Eternal Divine Tower absorb their converted energy. It's better than leaving them to the three Supremes. Night Sorrow continued to send a voice transmission. Now that his cultivation had advanced to the third stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, he judged that he should be able to fight with Nangong He. So he was going to snatch the first and third levels of the Eternal Divine Tower. At the same time, he would help Yin Hengshe retrieve some of his bones. Hearing this, Little Five asked, is this choice more suitable than cultivating in the void? I'm not sure, but I feel that after leaving for a long time, I should go back and see my friends. Night Sorrow explained. He was not prepared to give up on some of the opportunities in the void. However, his current strength had advanced to the half-step Supreme Boundary Grade 3. Furthermore, after obtaining the Flame Core, he already had the strength to do some things. He should choose to return as soon as possible. That's good. Once we recover our limeters, we can also help you quickly increase your strength. After Little Five finished speaking, he didn't say anything else. As for Night Sorrow, he asked Jinghai about Nangongha and Andrew, as well as the matter of the 4 cities in the foggy area. After getting the answer he wanted, he sat on the deck of the starship and drank wine in the starry sky. It was rare that he did not continue to cultivate. After flying in this environment for about 100 years, Night Sorrow defeated dozens of star beasts. Bai Wuji, who had been completely subdued, was healed. Finally, they returned to the foggy area. After arriving at the foggy area, Night Sorrow immediately flew towards the Night Devil territory. After thousands of years of war, the foggy area had finally stabilized. Many people were using the resources they had plundered to reach a higher level. For a moment, the entire foggy area was quiet. When he returned to the Night Devil territory, Night Sorrow found that Friend City was still there. Using his divine soul to investigate, he found that Jie Lin was cultivating in seclusion in the City Lord's mansion. At this moment, her cultivation had already advanced to the third stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. She was much stronger than before. As for the others, he only sensed Yin Yi and Xian Yan in the city. At this moment, Yin Yi and Xian Yan were both at the peak of the first stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. Their auras were not bad. After arriving at the City Lord's mansion where Jie Lin was, Night Sorrow called Jie Lin, Yin Yi, and Xian Yan over. After exchanging a few pleasantries with them, he asked, "Where did the others go? Why didn't I sense them in the city?" "Oh. Recently, we found a secret realm in the Night Devil territory that is extremely suitable for cultivation. Everyone is cultivating inside." After Night Sorrow asked, Jie Lin immediately replied. Then, Yin Yi also smiled and said, "That place is indeed very magical. The cultivation speed is even 10,000 times faster than usual. This is simply too unrealistic." "Oh, where is that secret realm? Take me there to have a look." Hearing this, Night Sorrow was a little surprised. He had never seen a paradise that could increase one's cultivation speed by 10,000 times. "There's a teleportation portal in the city that leads there. We'll take you there." Now almost everyone is cultivating there. As Jie Lin spoke, he, Yin Yi, and Xian Yan brought Night Sorrow to the teleportation portal in the city. However, after arriving at the teleportation portal, she suddenly realized that the teleportation portal was not working. The black thorn crystal could not activate it at all. How could this be? Could it be that the teleportation portal there has been destroyed? Realizing that the teleportation portal could not be used, Jielin was astonished. Let me try. When Night Sorrow heard this, he immediately tried and realized that the teleportation portal was indeed not working. His heart was suddenly in his throat. He said, immediately teleport to the nearest city. We'll fly to the secret realm. Okay. Jielin did not dawdle. He responded and teleported the three of them to Frost City, which was only half a day's journey away from the secret realm. After arriving at Frost City, Night Sorrow said, enter my space. I'll take you to the secret realm. Okay. I'll be in charge of leading the way. Xianyan said immediately after the three of them were taken into Night Sorrow's space. Then, under his command, Night Sorrow, who had raised his strength to the maximum, quickly led the three of them to the secret realm. After about 12 hours, they appeared at the periphery of the secret realm. At this time, the secret realm that could provide for tens of millions of people to cultivate had been sealed. Something must have happened. The entrance could not be entered. This made Jielin, who had tried several times, change his expression. At this time, Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe the ripple-like entrance. He said, there's an array here, so you can't open it. After that, he summoned the restriction-breaking hammers and said, both of you, break the array in front of you. We already know what's going on. Don't worry. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammers said, and began to break the array with the female hammer. After about 2 hours, they successfully broke the array in front of them. Then Jielin opened the entrance and led Night Sorrow and the others into the secret realm. As soon as they entered the secret realm, Night Sorrow felt an extremely powerful aura. This aura had even surpassed half a step to the supreme realm of 5th stage. As if it would step into the supreme realm at any time. He immediately reminded them, be careful. There's a super expert here. As he said this, he took Yin Yi and Xianyan into the space again. Then, side by side with Jielin, they walked slowly into the secret realm. At this time, the secret realm was completely different from what Jielin had seen before. In the past, the secret realm was definitely a paradise. Now it was dark and shabby. Moreover, there were strange stone carvings on the stone walls. Chapter 34-27. These evil-looking monster stone carvings recorded the history of some kind of strange beast tribe. However, Night Sorrow and the rest were not in the mood to study it. Using the power of his divine sense, Yishang confidently probed the area, and discovered that there was indeed a top-tier exotic beast expert here. This strange beast expert had imprisoned all the people of the Night Demon territory in a sealed array formation. Using the power of the array formation, it was absorbing all of their vitality. The cultivators in the array formation had cultivated for more than 2,000 years with the support of large amounts of resources. More than 30 of them had already advanced to half-step to Supreme Realm. They provided the strange beast expert with a very powerful aura. Sensing all of this, Night Sorrow immediately shouted angrily, "Bastard, stop! Who is it? How dare you disturb the king's cultivation? You deserve to die." Night Sorrow had just opened his mouth when some of the stone carvings on the stone wall jumped down from the stone wall and blocked in front of Night Sorrow. "The person who will kill you." Night Sorrow sized up a total of 9 half-step to Supreme Realm 4th grade strange beasts in front of him. After these strange beasts jumped out of the stone wall, they turned into flesh and blood. He immediately summoned Bai Wuji. Together with Bai Wuji and Jielin, they fought the 9 half-step Supreme Realm strange beasts in front of them. Bai Wuji was a half-step Supreme Realm 4th grade, but he was clearly stronger than ordinary 4th grade cultivators. When he erupted, he could basically display the strength of a 5th grade cultivator. Fighting 3 strange beasts alone was not much pressure. Jielin was slightly weaker, but he could temporarily block the attacks of 2 strange beasts. As for the remaining 4, they were all dealt with by Night Sorrow. Although he was fighting 4 strange beasts alone, Night Sorrow's efficiency was clearly higher than Bai Wuji and Jielin's. Worried about everyone, he immediately activated the 33 Heavens Star Ruins secret battle technique and destruction divine ability. He used the Ice Fire Mother-Child Spear and other ultimate techniques on them. Soon, the 4 strange beasts in front of him were killed. Jialin, let me help you. After killing the strange beasts in front of him in less than 20 breaths, Night Sorrow began to help Jialin kill the 2 strange beasts she was fighting. His speed was extremely shocking. The increase in your strength is too terrifying. Seeing Night Sorrow cutting down exotic beasts half a step to the supreme stage like he was chopping vegetables, Jialin was immediately shocked. At this time, Night Sorrow had already begun to help Bai Wuji in battle. This time, they'd annihilated the beast before them in less than 10 breaths of time. Follow me. Night Sorrow roared angrily when he sensed that the aura of the exotic beast expert was gradually increasing. The aura of the people in the night demon territory was getting weaker and weaker. Some of them were even directly sucked to death. He was prepared to quickly find the mutated beast expert and kill him. However, they had only taken a few steps when some beasts half a step into the limitless 4th stage jumped out of the stone wall. Although the strange beast this time was only at the 4th grade of half-step supreme realm, its aura was clearly much stronger. Moreover, there were almost 20 of them. Seeing the 20-plus strange beasts blocking the way, Bai Wuji immediately frowned and said, "So many strange beasts, I'm afraid it won't be easy to deal with." "There's nothing difficult about it. Watch me." Night Sorrow roared and directly burned his Phoenix bloodline and Jialin bloodline. He blasted out the Ice-Fire Mother-Child spear at the 20-plus strange beasts in front of him. This time, he added some flame core energy into the Ice-Fire Mother-Child spear. After shooting it out, several strange beasts were directly killed. This is too strong. Seeing Night Sorrow kill 4 or 5 half-step supreme stage exotic beasts in one move, Bai Wuji was immediately surprised. According to his judgment, the current Night Sorrow's strength was at least 20 times stronger than when he fought with him. This was an extremely terrifying increase. This is nothing. Compared to the exotic beast expert inside, you're still far from it. Follow me and kill. After Night Sorrow killed a few strange beasts in one move, he went on a killing spree in the tunnel. Bai Wuji and Jialin assisted him to complete all kinds of kills. This time, although the strange beasts in the stone carvings were stronger and more numerous, they were quickly killed again. I didn't expect you to have some ability. However, you have to pass through the 8 generals under my command. At this moment, the strange beast that was absorbing the energy of the people in the night demon territory made a sound for the first time. After that, 8 strange beasts that seemed to be able to support the heavens jumped out in an instant. These strange beasts looked more ferocious than the other, and their auras were very powerful. Each of them was a half-step supreme stage 5th stage existence. With their path blocked, Jialin and Bai Wuji's expressions immediately became very ugly. Bai Wuji could at most fight one of these strange beasts, and it was not easy for Jialin to survive under the attack of one of them. Therefore, their hearts were very heavy. According to their judgment, even Night Sorrow could not kill 6 half-step supreme stage exotic beasts alone. After all, they were too strong. Night Sorrow could sense Jialin and Bai Wuji's auras and immediately said, "You guys retreat a little, I'll deal with them." Night Demon, you have the ability to fight 8 alone. Hearing this, Bai Wuji immediately asked in surprise. Obviously, according to Night Sorrow's words, he had not used his full strength yet. Looking at it this way, although he was a half-step supreme stage 3rd stage, the combat strength he could unleash was close to the peak of the half-step supreme stage. Whether I can or not, I still have to fight and kill them quickly, Night Sorrow said coldly and sent a voice transmission to Little Fool. Little Fool, prepare to use the attack you prepared. Okay. Although the attack I prepared with Bai Wuji's divine artifact is also a half-step supreme stage 5th stage, it can directly kill 1 or 2 of these strange beasts. Little Fool replied confidently. Okay. Get ready to attack at any time, I'm going to attack. Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe the 8 generals in front of him. Once again he had Jialin and Bai Wuji retreat. With the golden heavenly halberd and the desolate war halberd in hand, he began to fight with them. This time, as soon as the battle began, Night Sorrow burned his Leaken bloodline, and used the attack and defense techniques on himself. He raised his state to the extreme. After that, He used the power of the flame core and continuously used the two halberds to unleash his ultimate techniques. Under such a level of attack, the half-step Supreme Stage 5th stage beasts in front of him were basically no different from the 4th stage beasts just now. Soon Night Sorrow killed 2 or 3 of them. At this time, in order to save time, he suddenly sent a voice transmission. Little Fool attack. Okay. As Little Fool replied, he cooperated with Night Sorrow and blasted out a half-step Supreme Stage 5th stage attack. Night Sorrow faced the remaining strange beasts and used the Divine Essence Trap Array and Merit Trap Array, as well as the defense technique, so that they could not escape. After being hit, another 2 strange beasts fell. After that, Night Sorrow unleashed his attack again, and killed the remaining strange beasts, as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Without stopping, he rushed toward the strange beasts that were absorbing everyone's aura. Chapter 34:28. Damned Ant. How dare you stop this king's good deed? You're courting death. The king-level beast that was absorbing everyone's vitality saw Night Sorrow break through its defenses and attack it. It let out a cold roar and temporarily gave up on absorbing the vitality of the people in the Night Demon territory. It quickly flew over and violently attacked Night Sorrow. Who are you calling an ant? Night Sorrow did not panic at all when facing this beast. He directly used the Void Broken Palm divine ability and forcefully resolved the attack. At this moment, Night Sorrow saw clearly that this peak half-step Supreme Realm Beast King was a beast with a tiger's head, snake's body and bat wings. This beast gave off an extremely cold and dangerous aura. After resolving the first attack, Night Sorrow immediately used the Golden Heavenly Halberd and the Desolate War Halberd to shoot out the Ice Fire Mother Spear. This time, he used the strongest essence of the Flame Core in the Ice Fire Mother Spear. This attack was the highest level attack he had in front of him. After blasting out, with the help of the Merit Trap Array, it successfully bombarded the tiger-headed snake beast. He was sent flying by the explosion. At this moment, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice. Jialin by Wuji, I'll hold him back. You guys go and save him. Oh. The tiger-headed snake beast that was hit by Night Sorrow was basically immune to his frost power. However, when it was burned by the flames, it immediately let out a mournful howl and became completely berserk. While it was being burned, it also roared and attacked Night Sorrow with an ultimate skill. Several spikes on its back shot out. After these spikes were shot out, each of them bloomed with an evil light. They cut through space and time and strangely shot towards Night Sorrow. As expected of a peak half-step Supreme Realm Beast, its attack is almost impossible to dodge. When these spikes shot out, Night Sorrow was sure that he could not dodge this attack with just his speed. Immediately, he formed a Divine Essence Trap Array around him to mitigate these attacks. At the same time, he blasted out the fiery demon subduing spear into the void, using the scorching heat of the fire core to deal with these sharp thorns with an evil aura. However, even such flames were unable to completely incinerate the spikes. 3 spikes shot through the Divine Essence trapping formation and attacked Night Sorrow one after another. At this time, Night Sorrow used the heaven-defying dragon roaming steps to dodge, but it was too late. 3 consecutive spikes pierced his arm and sternum. After the 3 spikes hit Night Sorrow's arm and sternum, they immediately exploded, causing Night Sorrow to bleed on the spot. The waiter immediately asked with concern, Night Sorrow, are you okay? Are your injuries serious? It's not a fatal wound. It can be healed. Night Sorrow used his Leaken bloodline to heal his wounds and replied to Little Fool. At the same time, he gained a deeper understanding of the tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast's strength. It was a half-step Supreme Realm exotic beast that could advance to the Supreme Realm at any time. Some of its innate attacks were still very powerful. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow put away the Desolation War Halberd while healing his injuries. He cast the Divine Essence Trapping Formation and Merit Trapping Formation, as well as the Defense Seal, at the tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast. After temporarily trapping it, he quickly closed the distance between them and prepared to engage in close combat. To him, he had already used the very powerful Ice Fire Mother-Child Spear earlier, but the effect seemed to be ordinary. Therefore, he was prepared to find another way. In the process of close combat, he used a spirit attack to cause serious damage to it. He had already discovered that this tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast's defense was extremely shocking. After all, even after being burned at the core level, its defense was still not broken. You want to engage in close combat with this king? How dare you? Seeing that Night Sorrow chose to engage in close combat, the tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast was not shocked. Instead, it was overjoyed. Immediately, its body became about the same size as Night Sorrow. It increased its flexibility a lot. After both sides engaged in close combat, Night Sorrow discovered that his opponent's close combat ability was indeed very strong. Moreover, the strength of its body was as he had imagined. It was almost in an invulnerable state. His continuous attacks did not cause any real damage to it. At this time, the tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast laughed. Haha, an ant that doesn't know anything. Don't you know that in order to advance to the supreme realm, the first thing you need to do is to advance your body to an invulnerable state? With your body's strength, you still dare to engage in close combat with this king? You're really courting death. There's such a saying. Doesn't that mean that almost all supreme realm masters have invincible bodies? Hearing this, while Night Sorrow was surprised, he also understood something. Then he transmitted his voice to Little Fool. Take the restriction-breaking hammer, and go help Jialin and Baiwuji. After you succeed in saving them, you guys leave first. I'll deal with this tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast myself. I'll meet up with you guys later. He felt that he might not be able to completely kill the exotic beast in front of him today, because this tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast's body had already reached perfection. It was very difficult to completely kill it. Understood. I'll contact you via voice transmission later. Little Fool received Night Sorrow's voice transmission and replied. At the same time, he immediately controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to fly to help Jialin and Baiwuji. At this time, with Night Sorrow restraining the tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast, they had already successfully found the place where everyone was trapped. However, they could not break the formation no matter how hard they tried. When Little Fool arrived, he immediately took out the restriction-breaking hammer and asked them to help break the formation. At this time, the tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast was very confident in fighting Night Sorrow. According to its judgment, Jialin, Baiwuji, and the Eternal Divine Tower flying over did not have the ability to break the formation it had set up. As the battle progressed, Night Sorrow basically gave up on the idea of killing it. He kept using all kinds of divine spirit attacks to exhaust it. The tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast was not in a hurry. It used all kinds of attacks to attack Night Sorrow. Through the battle, it had already discovered that Night Sorrow was not simple, and had the intention to devour and refine him. It felt that as long as it absorbed all the energy in Night Sorrow's body, it would definitely be able to advance to the supreme stage. However, although Night Sorrow was scratched many times during the battle, he relied on his powerful leak in bloodline to recover. After fighting for about an hour, the wounds on his body from the 3 spikes had already recovered. It saw Night Sorrow's recovery ability with its own eyes. The tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast said greedily, "This king will definitely obtain your bloodline today." "You can't do it." As Night Sorrow replied, he used his divine spirit to check the restriction-breaking hammer's movements. Although the restriction-breaking hammer was trying its best to break the formation, its progress was still slow against a formation set up by a quasi-supreme stage expert. When I was fighting with you just now, this king did not use the strength of a quasi-supreme stage expert at all. I'll let you have a taste of this next. The tiger-headed snake-body exotic beast laughed sinisterly and completely changed its aura. In an instant, its aura became completely different. Chapter 34-29. After the tiger-headed, snake-bodied beast's aura changed, the aura that erupted from its body vaguely had the aura of the supreme state. Night Sorrow had felt this aura from Yen Hengshi before. He immediately became vigilant against the beast. At the same time, he transmitted his voice to Xiong Chui. Try to find a way to break the formation as quickly as possible. We're already doing our best, but the strength of this formation is too high. It's beyond what we can handle. Xiong Chui heard the transmission and replied. Ask your friends in the Eternal Divine Tower to help provide some energy or resources, so that you can advance on the spot. Night Sorrow was already very risky to transmit his voice while facing the tiger-headed, snake-bodied beast. He no longer had the energy to talk to Shower about this. After replying to Xiong Chui, he activated all the statuses, including the Star Ruin power, and prepared to face the Beast King's challenge. Die for this king. After the tiger-headed, snake-bodied Beast King raised his aura, he sensed that Night Sorrow's Leaken bloodline was at the supreme level. His heart trembled, and he wanted to take it for himself. With a roar, he took out a snake staff and smashed it at Night Sorrow. This move seemed ordinary, but it contained the power of the quasi-supreme state. This was something that Night Sorrow did not possess yet. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that he should not use the Golden Heavenly Halberd or the Desolation Halberd to take it head-on. Therefore, he condensed the Star Ruin power and attacked the snake staff with the Star Ruin Motherchild Spear. Boom! The Star Ruin Motherchild Spear was one of Night Sorrow's strongest attacks. After bombarding the Beast King's snake staff, it immediately repelled the tiger-headed, snake-bodied Beast King. This not only surprised the tiger-headed, snake-bodied Beast King, but also Night Sorrow. What kind of power is this? Why is it so strong? He was puzzled when the Beast King with the snake staff was repelled. He did not know what kind of power Night Sorrow had used. At this moment, Night Sorrow also did not understand. He did not expect the Star Ruin power to have such an effect. This power was even stronger than the flame core he had just controlled. He thought to himself, if that's the case, what kind of effect will the combination of the Star Ruin's power and the core of the flame produce? With that in mind, Night Sorrow shot out the Motherchild gun again while the strange Beast King was still in shock. This time, he used the flame as the sub-spear and the power of the Star Ruins as the main spear. The Beast King immediately used its footwork to dodge. However, at this moment, Night Sorrow once again executed the Divine Origin Trapping Formation, the Merit Trapping Formation, and the Defense Seal. Instantly, the Beast King's speed was greatly reduced. Damn it! The primal chaos was formed by nature. The trapped exotic Beast King sneered coldly. Suddenly, he executed another ultimate technique in the trap formation. When this ultimate skill was used, its power was clearly stronger than the snake staff's attack just now. In fact, it was much bigger. So you didn't dodge out of fear. Instead, you made me choose to exchange blows with you again. Night Sorrow, who was paying attention to the Beast King with the sea serpent's eye, immediately saw through his thoughts. However, right now he was filled with boundless confidence. He didn't choose to dodge at all. Instead, he chose to clash head-on with the exotic Beast King. After the two's attacks collided, Night Sorrow and the exotic Beast King's bodies kept retreating because of the backlash. They both crashed into the wall behind them and sank deep into it. No wonder you're so confident. It turns out that this chaos is really powerful. Night Sorrow, who had been blasted into the stone wall, felt his body and realized that he had almost been killed by the collision. There were at least 20 wounds on his body, and each of them was so deep that his bones could be seen. He didn't leave the stone wall. Instead, he took out a few pills from the space and swallowed them. Then he activated the Leaken bloodline and recovered quickly. However, although the Leaken bloodline's recovery ability was extremely powerful, it was not enough to let him recover his combat ability in a moment. At this moment, Night Sorrow used the power of his divine soul to sense the exotic Beast King in the distance, and found that its situation wasn't much better. It was also recovering in the stone wall. However, what surprised Night Sorrow was that the exotic Beast King's recovery speed was even faster than his, who had the Leaken bloodline. He immediately began to ponder what was going on. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow recalled the exotic beasts he had encountered when he had just entered the mystic realm. He guessed, this exotic Beast King and I are both injured now. The reason why it can recover so quickly must be related to the stone wall, or the array. If we allow him to recover at this rate, we might all die here. At this thought, Night Sorrow immediately sent a voice transmission to Baiwuji. Baiwuji, the exotic beast king in the stone wall is seriously injured now. It can't attack. Get it out of the stone wall. Yes, my lord. Bai Wuji, who couldn't help with the restriction-breaking hammer, immediately called for Jielin. They came near the stone wall where the exotic beast king was and started attacking it. At this time, the exotic beast king was very regretful. Why did he send out all his generals? If he hadn't sent them out, he would be invincible now. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Helpless, he could only drag his injured body and use the power of his bloodline to forcefully respond. Attacking in such a situation was equivalent to risking his life, but he had no other choice. However, his strength was much higher than Jielin and Bai Wuji's. Although the two of them attacked with all their might, they were all neutralized. This made Bai Wuji very angry, and he felt that he was too useless. Night Sorrow, who was using the power of his soul to check the situation, reminded the two of them. Just delay it. Don't push it too far. Otherwise, the exotic beast king will self-destruct and die with us. My lord, I will be careful. Hearing this, Bai Wuji immediately reacted. Actually, this kind of battle was very good, and he was no longer obsessed with it. As for Night Sorrow, he quickly recovered. Seeing that the situation was not good, the exotic beast king hesitated for a moment, and finally decided to give up. Chao Jielin and Bai Wuji unleashed a heavenly primal chaos art before diving back into the stone walls to escape. The exotic beast king's speed was not something that Jielin and Bai Wuji could catch up to. They could only helplessly give up the chase. At this time, Night Sorrow slowly came out of the stone wall and said, "It's okay. We were able to force a quasi-supreme venerable to retreat. It's already a success. You're so badly injured. You'd better recuperate quickly." Jielin immediately reminded him when he saw the many wounds on Night Sorrow's body. "I'm fine. Let's go and see our friends who are trapped." Night Sorrow, who was walking slowly toward the array, kept an eye on the exotic beast king. However, the exotic beast king did not appear. It must have escaped. Then, under Yishang's gaze, he used the restriction-breaking hammer, which had been raised to the peak of the 4th grade of the half-supreme realm, to successfully break the formation. After the array was broken, Night Sorrow checked it, and his expression became serious. Chapter 34:30. The people of the Night Demon territory in the formation were all extremely weak. Most of them had fainted, and some of them had lost their lives. They had obviously died. There were quite a number of them who had died, about 70 to 80. These cultivators were basically at the lower heavenly supreme level, and were considered weak in the Night Demon territory. They had all died from having their vitality and blood sucked dry. Save them, hurry up and save them. Seeing the situation in front of him, Night Sorrow swore to himself that he would definitely kill the exotic beast king to avenge today's grudge. However, at this moment, he had no time to think about other things. He immediately began to save people. Using his Leaken bloodline, he helped cultivators recover one after another. "Brother Yi, you're finally here. Quick, help me check on Feng Shui." When Wan Jianzong recovered a little and woke up, he immediately said excitedly when he saw Night Sorrow. He was very worried about his wife. "Don't worry, Feng Shui is fine. Don't say anything else. Immediately take a pill and recover your vitality." Night Sorrow used the power of merit to purify some of the negative aura on Wan Jianzong's body, and handed him a pill. Then he went to Xiao Tianxuan's side. While treating him, he asked, "Brother Xiao, what's going on?" He felt that Xiao Tianxian should know the ins and outs of the matter since he did not faint. "After we discovered this secret realm, we have been cultivating here. In the first few years of cultivation, our strength increased at an astonishing speed, so we summoned everyone here. But a few days ago, the entire secret realm suddenly changed. The exotic beast king led many subordinates and rushed out of the stone wall. They attacked everyone. Although we have many half-step supreme realm cultivators, we are no match for them." At this point, Xiao Tianxian sighed and said, "So we were all locked in this formation." Then, the exotic beast king began to use the formation to absorb everyone's vitality and blood essence to increase his strength. "Bastard. So that's how it is. This should be a trap set up by the exotic beast king, using resources to bait everyone. After listening to Xiao Tianxian, Knight Sorrow realized that it was similar to his judgment. Then he continued, Brother Xiao, where do you think those things came from? I've never heard of such a tribe in the foggy area. What he meant was to find the nest of the exotic beasts and kill them all to eliminate the threat. In my opinion, they probably came from the underground of the Night Demon territory. After all, before this, there were no traces of them in our Night Devil territory. If they were in other territories, then they would attack on the people of other territories. Xiao Tianxuan's exotic beasts. I'll do a thorough search later and try my best to kill the Beast King and its entire race. Yishang nodded and said coldly, Knight Sorrow, this is the wine I brought from my hometown. You've worked hard recently. Try it. Xiao Tianxian looked at the injuries on Knight Sorrow's body and felt his heart ache. He took out a jar of wine and handed it to him. This jar of wine was brought up by him from the divine realm. It was the last jar in his hands. Haha, thank you, Brother Xiao. When Knight Sorrow heard that this jar of wine came from his hometown, he immediately understood that it was a product of the divine realm. He took it and drank it boldly. For a moment, he felt as if he had returned to the divine realm. He thought to himself, family, wait for me. Once I finish off the 3 supreme venerables, we'll meet again. After finishing the jar of wine, Knight Sorrow began to treat the injured cultivators of the Night Demon territory again. Those who had recovered a little also began to help. It took more than a day to wake up all the cultivators who had fainted. However, those who had been sucked dry of vitality and blood essence did not wake up. Let's bury everyone. After that, I'll bring you to find the nest of the exotic beast. I'll avenge everyone. Dozens of cultivators had died in the territory all of a sudden. Knight Sorrow's heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. He said coldly and began to bury all the cultivators with the others. Then, he put everyone into the eternal divine tower, and brought them into the stone walls of the secret realm to search for the whereabouts of the exotic beast king. Although he had the sea serpent's eye, he could not see anything with his divine eye. Thus, he used the tracking secret technique he had learned from the Horn clan, and began to track the exotic beast king from its aura. After all, they had fought for so long just now. Knight Sorrow naturally controlled the aura of the exotic beast king. Then he led everyone to follow the aura and dig underground. They dug about 30,000 miles. Knight Sorrow suddenly entered a world filled with stone carvings. After arriving here, he immediately felt the strong aura of the exotic beast king, and immediately led people to chase in its direction. It actually chased here? How is this possible? The exotic beast king, who was recovering in its nest, quickly discovered Knight Sorrow's arrival, and was instantly terrified. That was because he sensed that Knight Sorrow's aura was much stronger than his. In a panic, he summoned 50 to 60 half-step Supreme Realm exotic beasts and had them stop Knight Sorrow. He was prepared to escape again. Trying to escape? It's not that easy. Today, whether it's you or your clan, you will all be destroyed. After Knight Sorrow used his divine spirit to detect the exotic beast king's aura, he immediately flew in its direction. The half-step Supreme Realm exotic beasts that were blocking him were basically no match for him. If one came, he would kill one. If 2 came, he would kill a pair. Good job. Seeing Knight Sorrow killing the exotic beasts one by one so bravely, Master Myriad Sword shouted happily. In the formation, they had been tortured by the exotic beast king and hated the entire exotic beast tribe to death. Don't worry, I will kill all of them. Knight Sorrow replied after hearing Master Myriad Sword's words and continued to chase after the exotic beast king. Although the exotic beast king had been commanding its subordinates to stop him, it could not stop Knight Sorrow from chasing after it. Not long after, it was blocked by Knight Sorrow at the exit of this small world. Looking at the extremely weak exotic beast king, Knight Sorrow said coldly, Heaven's Net has long arms. Do you think you can escape after killing someone? Die. With a loud roar, he unleashed the power of ice on the Ice King. If it was at its peak, this kind of power of frost would not have any effect at all. However, now that it was used, it immediately trembled and felt incomparable fear. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.